Chapter 1062 Watching the intense atmosphere between the Princess Knight Order, Wilderness Bride Group, Lamia Squad, and Troll Team below, Ein let out a sigh. They must have no idea what awaits them next. This is truly a meaningless conflict. Stop, the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order is not held here. Ein's voice carried a tremendous pressure for everyone present. Even the most wild Saramanda paused her attack and looked at Queen Ein in front of the tall tower with a puzzled expression. Is it not here? Besides here, there is nowhere else in the capital city that can host a night selection event with over 3,000 people. Everyone, gather. Ein didn't explain, but from the moment these 3,000 underage girls were gathered here, everything had already been decided. Everything is ready, only the east wind is missing. Princess Knights join the Knight Squad according to their respective factions, noble girls of the kingdom join the kingdom, and the daughters of merchants join the trade union alliance. Commoner girls are automatically categorized, while girls from different races gather according to their own race. Social class and race are naturally inseparable elements in this world, and soon everyone found their own group. Come in, only underage girls who have been summoned this time. Others are not allowed to enter. The mysterious Divine Era Tower, which has always been a great mystery, has unprecedentedly opened its doors to outsiders who are not Divine Era bloodline warlocks. Here, there is a special place where the oldest secret of the Divine Era is hidden, a place used for hatching dragon eggs. Until the generation of Ein, this secret had no meaning at all. Nobody could have imagined that the magical towers and Sky Garden, which once represented the glory of the Divine Era, would completely disappear. Only a small portion of the underground cemetery survived. Among all the towers standing on Earth, there is only this Divine Era Tower, with no other like it. What? The selection takes place inside the tall tower? How could this tower possibly have a place for the selection of 3,000 people? Unbelievable. Wasn't it said that this tower doesn't allow humans without Divine Era bloodline to enter? Representatives of the major forces, who were prepared to witness the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order selection from start to finish, were left in awe. Who would have thought that the selection would not take place on the square in front of the tower, but inside the tower itself? Despite the fact that this tower is of unparalleled height on the continent and is surrounded by a mysterious magical barrier, it is hard to believe that 3,000 people could be accommodated for the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. All the girls who participated in this selection were stunned. They could actually enter this tower, which is famous as the most mysterious relic in the continent. After the collapse of the Divine Era civilization, this is the Holy Land in the hearts of all the mages on the continent, the only remaining relic of the Divine Era with great achievements. The height, more than 300 meters. It presents a white spiral structure, like stairs falling from the clouds, protected by ancient magic barriers. No matter when you look at it, it is as white as new, without any trace of time. The Tower of Origins, the God Tower, the Tower of Observation Stars. This tower is filled with so many mysterious vibes, even the troll clan in the volcano area knows that it is a remarkable creation of human civilization. Throughout history, this tower has been the symbol of the Sia Kingdom, the proof of the nation. But the problem is, how can this tower accommodate 3,000 people for the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order? It's not like stacking people up, it can't be that simple. Let's go, you will soon know the answer, Ein smiled subtly. But from the appearance alone, probably everyone would think that this tower is not a building for people to live in. Whether it is the spiral-shaped pointed roof or the unique white tower body, they resemble some kind of sacred symbol, like a staircase leading to heaven, towering above. In history, at the most crowded time in this tall tower, there were only a dozen people. All the food and everyday items were brought in from the outside. If you don't go inside the tall tower, you might never imagine what it looks like inside. This place is not just a tower for stargazing, it has a more sacred purpose. Now I only just learned why many of the structures inside the tower exist, and what those special rooms are prepared for. In the name of the Tower Master, grant access to the second level. Ein gently blew on the halo at their fingertip, releasing countless white particles of light that covered over 3,000 young girls in the courtyard. This is a spell that only the Tower Master, with the highest authority in this tower, can use. It marks each and every member of the aspiring Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, totaling about 3,000 people. There will be no mistakes. With this mark personally applied by the Tower Master, only outsiders without the Divine Era Warlock bloodline can enter this Divine Era tower as guests. In history, the Xia royal family has only used this mark on less than a few dozen outsiders. These people were all renowned strong individuals on the continent, had good relations with the Xia royal family, and absolute loyalty. Even so, they only gained the lowest level of access to the third floor and signed a confidentiality agreement. They will absolutely not reveal what they see inside the tower. The whole tower is divided into 4 levels of authority. The highest authority is held by the kingdom bloodline, which only those with pure blood can possess. In this generation, it is Ein and Adley. The third level of authority is only for temporary guests. They can only stay in the tower for 1 day and read some of the public books. The second level of authority is for the royal family who don't have the Divine Warlock bloodline. It is like a semi-permanent authority. The holders of this authority can freely enter the tower and move around, except for a few restricted areas. The first level of authority is only possessed by the successors of the highest authority. It is almost equivalent to the future highest authority, the next ruler of the tower. In other words, Princess Ein is granting these aspiring members of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order the same authority as the royal family. With nervous and anxious feelings, the girls who came to participate in the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order started to line up and enter this incredibly mysterious Divine Era tower in their respective order. The front team of Knight Princesses is lucky to be the first team that is not from the kingdom bloodline but still enters the Divine Era tower together. The Divine Era ruins that have never been opened to the Empire before have opened their doors to them. After passing through an ancient corridor engraved with the history of the kingdom, they finally see the interior of the tower. This is it. As Roland, the core of the Imperial team, saw the scenery inside the tower for the first time, he was stunned. What a beautiful world it is! Is this truly a sealed high tower? Why is it possible to see the sun inside this ancient tower? Chapter 1063. Ein looked at the amazed girls around her and couldn't help but show a nostalgic smile. On that day, when she first came to the Divine Era Tower, she was as astonished as these girls, almost holding her breath. From the outside, this ancient Divine Era Tower looks like a towering obelisk between heaven and earth, with a spiral structure resembling stairs descending from the heavens. Perfect artwork. A masterpiece like a deity. Countless words of praise and countless poems celebrate this ancient tower, which becomes more famous over time. However, the majority of them would never imagine what the inside of this tower looks like throughout their lifetime. Walking through the historical corridor, engraved with history, and passing through a closed curtain of light, a massive garden appears before the girls. Yes, it's a garden that includes all 4 seasons, with a multi-layered structure called the Sky Garden. One small garden after another connects through magical ribbons, cascading waterfalls from the sky, finally landing in a lake at the base of the tower. At the very top of the tower, there is a small sun that isn't created by human technology yet. It's an artificial sun simulated by a magic pool during the Divine Era. Over 100 gardens are spread throughout the tower, each cultivating different flowers and plants of various properties, including species that have long been extinct from the continent since the end of the Divine Era. Every garden has its own little world, which perfectly imitates the scenery of a specific area. From the steamy rainforests of the south, to the icy landscapes of the north. From the tropical climate of the east to the desert oases of the west. Based on their ecological characteristics and distribution, various precious medicinal plants are cultivated in gardens that suit their needs. These gardens are interconnected, creating a unique order. Butterflies with pale golden wings flutter about, diligently pollinating these rare flowers. They trim the aging branches with their wings and collect the necessary fruits. Everything is well organized. The inside of the tall tower is many times larger than what can be observed from the outside. It can accommodate not just 3,000 girls, but even several times more. And this is not everything the tower has to offer. Around the lake at the tower's base, a slowly opening door reveals a passage leading to the underground. There, an even larger space can hold up to 20,000 people without any problem. According to Ein's knowledge, these magical creatures called fairy butterflies have been residing in the tower since its construction, and the tower masters have never had authority over them. These butterflies, responsible for maintaining the Divine Era Tower, have been part of the tower since the Divine Era began. No matter how they were attracted to this tower from the outside, this remaining miracle building of the Divine Era has become the final home for these fairy butterflies. If they leave this tower unaffected by the magic tide, they would even suffocate in the outside world. This is a rare fantasy creature that should have been completely extinct long ago, a species extremely rare in the Divine Era. They naturally love taking care of plants, carefully nurturing these rare plant species that have long disappeared from the outside world. If these vibrant and rare flowers were sold in the outside world, each would be worth a fortune. Shades of emerald, deep blue, vibrant red, pale gold, and countless other colors intertwine in this vast spiral garden, everything feels so natural. The immense vitality nurtures every inch of the land, even the air is filled with refreshing life energy. Standing here, taking a breath, you can feel the abundant magic, as if time itself has stagnated in this tower. This is the concentration of magic that only existed in the Divine Era. Whether it's the miniature sun in the sky, the lakes at the bottom of the tower, the gravity-defying floating waterfall, or these flying fairy butterflies, they all give a dreamlike and enchanting atmosphere, like an immortal world. In the past, I never understood where the various medicinal plants harvested by fairy butterflies went, and what purpose the huge palace beneath the tower served. It wasn't until she opened the book, Proper Methods for Hatching Dragon Eggs, and learned a lot about hatching dragon eggs that she suddenly understood. These flowers and medicines have been carefully chosen because they can quickly replenish magic and vitality. Some of them are even considered rare treasures. The value of these flowers and medicines lies in their ability to awaken the vitality of the huge pond and nourish the girls responsible for the hatching ceremony, granting them great benefits. In other words, everything here, whether it's the gardens or the fairy butterflies raised here, are treasures prepared for the ultimate purpose of hatching eggs. Even the tower master cannot use their highest authority to affect the operation of these butterflies and the entire aerial courtyard system. Ein has always suspected that the tower master's highest authority may have an unknown privilege, which is the ultimate authority of this tower. These things, didn't they disappear during the Divine Era? Roland, the princess of the empire, was not only a talented knight but also an excellent scholar. Just by glancing at them, she discovered dozens of ancient species that have not been seen since the end of the Divine Era. Those butterflies are so beautiful, and they can even trim branches. Oh my, look at the water. These butterflies can freely move in the water, and there are so many gemstones at the bottom of the lake. This is a relic from the Divine Era. It's like a dreamy sky garden. The first group of people who entered the tall tower were all amazed. The ancient relics from the past made everyone question if they were dreaming. Do not disturb these magical butterflies. They are the caretakers of this tower. You can freely enjoy the scenery here and relax in the garden or read books. Pay attention. Unless you have the permission of the fairy butterfly, you must not destroy anything here. If they get angry, you will be thrown out of the tower. The place you will live is in the lower area, located in an underground palace. Ayn explained the rules of the Divine Era Tower while leading a group of about 300 people towards the underground entrance by the lake. The quiet lake was adorned with millions of naturally formed gemstone crystals, resembling a small jewel ocean, sacred and dazzling. If it weren't for the special rules that prevent the items from this tower from being taken outside, the kingdom wouldn't have lost so badly. Those rare herbs would have been enough to cultivate 10 royal knight units. Chapter 1064. Unfortunately, this is just an unrealistic fantasy. If we consider this tall tower as a property, then the tower master with the highest authority is the manager of this property, but not the owner. The manager has the power to bring guests in and let them stay in the property, but they are not allowed to interfere with the original residents of the tower, the fairy butterflies who have been living here since the Divine Era. This marvelous spiral courtyard in the sky is a place where all kinds of rare plants are cultivated. It is a miracle where hundreds of flowers bloom together, and it is the last remaining sky garden in the world. After millions of years of silence, this miraculous building, built with the goal of hatching eggs, finally welcomes its opening moment once again. About 300 people in an orderly manner walk to the open underground passage, then gather and line up at Ayn's command. Soon, the second and third teams also entered this isolated miracle place from outside the Divine Era Tower. Without exception, everyone couldn't help but exclaim in awe when they saw this spiral sky garden. Especially the mermaid girls from the sea, their eyes sparkled brighter and brighter when they saw the crystal-clear lake and the gleaming gemstones scattered on the lake bed. Even in the real ocean, these rare gems are extremely rare and they are pure magical crystals. After the magic tide enters a weakened stage, these gems formed from magical crystals can only be occasionally found in the most dangerous deep-sea areas. They are truly treasures. In a sense, these gems can be considered strategic resources because they can store the power of magic and allow non-magical beings to use magic. During the Divine Era War, a mine that can produce magic crystals was enough to cause a fierce competition between the human camp and the Leviathan faction. And those were just the lowest grade clear crystals. The magic crystals here have all absorbed the pure magical energy from the tower over millions of years, forming top-quality crystals. There are even perfect grade 6-sided diamond crystals. For the mermaid sisters who love gems, this lake is truly irresistible temptation. If it wasn't for the significant importance of the selection by the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, they might have already jumped into this lake to swim and enjoy the pure magical water. So many little coins. How many things can we buy with this? Before entering the tall tower, Saramanda looked at the lake filled with sparkling gems, and her eyes sparkled with excitement. It's not just her who had such thoughts, but most people. Especially the human merchants' daughters, many of them blushed and even took out mysterious notebooks to calculate the value of this huge fortune according to their family's customs. The red gemstones with the power of fire, estimated to be over 1,000 pieces. The blue gemstones with the power of ice, estimated to be the same, over 1,000 pieces. The aqua gemstones with the power of air, over 1,000 and counting. The yellow gemstones with the power of earth, over 1,000 and counting. The white gemstones with the power of holy, a few hundred. The black gemstones with the power of darkness, a few hundred. Even the rarest and most perfect diamonds can be found here in quantities close to 100. This is a perfect gemstone known as the Stone of the Wise, in the legendary Divine Era of Magic, which can be used to perform the resurrection spell. This is like robbing a dragon's treasure trove. There's no way you can find so many gemstones like this. After the magic tide weakened, even the smallest ruby with a fire attribute here could be sold for a sky-high price. Alchemists have an infinite demand for magic gemstones, and any gemstone here is priceless. Especially those perfect diamonds with 6 sides, they were the highest grade gemstones even in the Divine Era. They disappeared completely at the end of the Divine Era. If there are any remaining, they can only be found in the terrifying underground cemetery. If news of the wealthier gets out, it would drive alchemists crazy. The allure of gemstones knows no borders or races, especially these high-quality gemstones infused with magic. Even in the Divine Era, they were top-notch goods and could be directly traded with the Dragon Clan. Now, these rare gemstones from the Divine Era lie quietly at the bottom of the clear lake, dazzling countless girls. The girls from merchant families calculated the value of these gemstones and were almost going crazy, their breaths becoming rapid. Selling these gemstones would be more than enough to buy half of the Empire's land. The hexagonal diamonds were in a league beyond monetary value, even enough to invite hero-ranked warriors from other continents to join the war. How could the kingdom with such a terrifying treasury suffer such a devastating defeat in the war? This is unrealistic. If they hired armies with these gemstones, the Empire would not have been so one-sided in the war. The value of these gemstones is so high that even the free hero-ranked strong individuals within the Empire would be tempted to get involved. I see now, this is the source. Roland looked at the hexagonal diamonds and the highest quality magic treasure stones with a complicated expression. The core of the Empire's third-generation magic armor hides a big secret, and one of the necessary materials for it is a high-quality gemstone. As for how high it needs to be, it must be at least of advanced quality. Every third-generation magic armor needs a high-quality gemstone to construct its core, and the higher the quality, the better. As for the special machine titled machine, the requirements are very strict, and it seems that what is needed is. Looking at that shiny six-sided diamond, Roland felt like he couldn't breathe. The wealth here, combined with the Empire's best efforts, can create more than 10 of the Empire's top magic army legions and nearly 100 titled machines. No wonder the Empire is willing to do anything to conquer the kingdom, even exterminating the royal family with the same bloodline. In the history of the Empire, someone must have entered this sky garden, maybe even the first emperor of the Empire, and recorded information about the lake at the bottom. During the Divine Era, this place was a treasure that even dragons coveted. In modern times, the many perfect gems lying dormant here still have the power to ignite a world war. The war between the kingdom and the Empire this time may have been caused by these gems. The Empire's path of science requires the legacy of the Divine Era found here. Keeping these gems in this lake is such a waste of precious treasures. Even if the Empire launches a war, they still want to seize this treasure trove of the Divine Era. Why didn't the royal family of Sia Kingdom collect these gems that could be used as a trump card when they scattered them to the bottom of the lake? The Divine Era treasure inherited by the kingdom was unexpectedly horrifying. Chapter 1065 Clap. 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 Ein gently clapped his hands to divert the attention of the reserve girls from the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order away from this gem lake. She also knew how astonishing these precious gems were for intelligent beings. When she saw these gems for the first time, she also wanted to jump in and retrieve them. Unfortunately, even as the Tower Master, she couldn't touch these gems. These gems were accumulated by the fairy butterflies over thousands of years. They used their own talents to absorb magical energy from the air and plant magic to create these treasures. While collecting nectar, the fairy butterflies absorbed magical energy from the air. Using a time that humans could never pass, they created these refined, flawless gemstones. If you look closely, you can faintly see the unique flower patterns in the gems, which are traces left by the fairies. Fairy gems. Throughout history, the Tower Masters have described these rare treasures with these words. It is only within this isolated Divine Era tower, and under the careful nurturing of these fairy butterflies with almost infinite life, that these nearly extinct gems from the outside world can be born. Truly a marvel. The ownership of these gems doesn't belong to the kingdom, but rather to these fairy butterflies. It must be said that the mysterious powers possessed by fantasy creatures in the divine era are beyond ordinary imagination. These gems are also the power source that supports the operation of the divine era tower, so even after one by one the other divine era ruins collapse, this divine era tower can still stand tall on this land, appearing as though it can continue to exist for thousands, even millions of years. Oh. Asterisk caret underscore underscore caret asterisk, hee. Law. Ha. The fairy butterflies were originally quietly collecting nectar, occasionally flying from the sky into the water to deliver the honeydew into the gems. When they discovered that there were so many outsiders entering the fairy garden for the first time, they flew over curiously. Their figures were dreamlike, with butterfly wings and delicate bodies like humans that had been shrunk. However, they didn't possess civilization, they were fantasy creatures born from pure magic. When the magic tide appeared, these fairy butterflies would dance gracefully between the heavens and the earth, chasing the flow of magic underground and migrating in the sky. That era was the happiest time for all the wise beings in this world. Even without doing anything, all kinds of fruits could grow on the land. Even the poorest humans didn't have to worry about going hungry. The various techniques and magical creations invented by the wizards changed the entire world. Most humans lived in abundance and achieved splendid artistic accomplishments and had the most number of heroes. The humans of that era conquered the land, made a peace treaty with the dragons ruling the oceans, and were now advancing towards the forbidden zone in the sky. The wizards who pursued the truths of the world even used the principles of the magic tide to create floating wizard towers. They ambitiously wanted to break through the final forbidden zone in the sky, the atmosphere, and move towards the endless starry sky. Unfortunately, they failed. It's okay, failure is the mother of success. As long as you repeat similar experiments more times, you will find a way to succeed. As long as there is the limitless support of magic tide, there is nothing that wizards cannot do. They can even create a magical network that allows even the weakest wizard to easily defeat a team of elite knights. No one ever expected that magic tide would weaken one day. It was like a fish that was used to living in water suddenly being thrown onto land. Many famous wizards from the divine era even committed suicide because they couldn't absorb enough magic. Only those wizards who experienced the most prosperous period of magic tide can understand the pain of losing magic. After the weakening of magic tide, the world was like doomsday for them. Similarly, for fantasy creatures like the fairy butterfly who can only live in a world filled with magic tide, a weakened magic tide world is truly a world of death. Without a flourishing magical environment, the fairy butterfly, as a fantasy creature, could only face death by suffocation. Driven by the instinct for survival, the fairy butterflies from all over the world sought the last traces of magic tide and hid in closed environments where magic still remained. Some of them settled in terrifying underground cemeteries, which became the desperate refuge for the high-ranking wizards from the divine era who turned themselves into undead monsters. They could never see daylight again. The rulers of these underground cemeteries are no longer human. In order to endure the weakening of magic tide, they transformed themselves into undead creatures and completely sealed their tombs to prevent the little remaining magic from leaking out. All outsiders who enter the tomb will be killed without mercy. All enemies who attempt to open the underground cemetery will be killed without mercy. They struggle to survive, trying to pass through this terrifying period of magic tide decline, waiting for the next high tide of magic to come as immortals. The underground cemetery, built during the divine era, is the final stronghold of these undead kings. The fairy butterflies who fled to the underground cemetery were tainted by darkness, gradually transforming into a different dangerous species, the ghost butterflies that feed on human souls. However, the majority of fairy butterflies found this world's last paradise, the Sky Garden, where they can continue to live happily. Everything here seems to have predicted the arrival of the period of magic tide decline from the very beginning, specifically prepared for these fairy butterflies. There are rare plants everywhere that produce delicious and fragrant nectar, which is the favorite food of fairy butterflies. The concentration of magic in the air is impeccable, even during the divine era, meeting all the requirements of the fairy butterflies. This garden belongs to the fairies. It is a place for them to live. As the owners of this place, the fairy butterflies use their talents to absorb magic from the air and nectar from various flowers to create beautiful gemstones. These gemstones, in turn, contribute to the self-sustaining system of this tower, keeping it standing strong against the passage of time. Having studied the tower's existence, Princess Ain greatly admired the designer who built it. It must have been a wise dragon who created this tower to hatch their eggs, ensuring its functionality regardless of how much time passes. Chapter 1066 The fairy butterflies flutter and curiously move among the aspiring members of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, occasionally landing on their horns, adding a quiet beauty like natural jewelry. Despite having intelligence and civilization similar to humans, these fairy butterflies also have their own unique habits. They have their own preferences and personalities, though humans might not understand what led to their existence. This is a race filled with many mysteries. All physical and magical attacks known in the divine era have no effect on them because their bodies are made entirely of pure magic. They are in a state of immortality more thorough than the troll clan. Only the weakening of the magic tide can make fairy butterflies disappear. They simply disappear, they don't die. In fact, humans don't even know if creatures like fairy butterflies have the concept of death. Humans cannot discern individual characteristics of fairy butterflies from their appearance. All fairy butterflies look identical, and there is no such thing as a queen. In the divine era, when the mages occasionally encountered fairy butterflies, one research-oriented mage proposed a hypothesis that all fairy butterflies in the world are actually just one single butterfly. The fairy butterflies we see are just different facets of that single fairy butterfly. Otherwise, it is impossible to explain why, even after countless killings of fairy butterflies, another identical fairy butterfly immediately appears in the same spot. It's as if all physical and magical attacks from humans have no effect on fairy butterflies. Thankfully, the fairy butterfly species is completely harmless to both humans and animals. Aside from stealing nectar, they don't engage in any inappropriate behavior. Even the fallen ghost butterflies in the underground cemetery only absorb the souls of humans after their death. They don't kill people. Humans cannot kill fairy butterflies or interfere with their actions. They cannot even comprehend how fairy butterflies exist in the first place. Everything about this fantasy creature is a complete mystery to the people of this world. After about 15 minutes, the fairy butterflies seemed to agree that these foreign girls had the right to stay in the Divine Era Tower, and they flew back to their garden one by one. Phew, it seems like they all passed. Ain quietly sighed with relief. These fairy butterflies have a natural sensitivity to malice. If someone with ill intentions towards the Divine Era Tower enters, these fairy butterflies will start dancing together to show their displeasure. When the first emperor of the empire, the proud #1 knight of the continent, was granted entry here, he was chased away by the dancing fairy butterflies, which meant that he was not qualified to become a resident here. The absence of the dance of expulsion means that the fairy butterflies have accepted the authenticity and effectiveness of Ain's second-level authorization, and the aspiring members of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order can now start living in the Divine Era Tower from today. This also means that her hatching dragon egg, which is the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order plan, has obtained the consent of the native residents of this tall tower and can continue to be implemented. With this step taken, the next things became simpler. Your Majesty, can we live inside this lake? We won't take these gemstones, but is it okay to touch them a little bit? This lake is really amazing. Unlike humans who often hide and make excuses, most of the girls from different tribes don't like lying. It's also a common problem in the Leviathan faction. The mermaid girls sent by the clan to participate in the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order selection, under Princess Heidi's leadership, all expressed a strong desire to live here. The mermaid clan is supposed to live in the water. If they can have a bed paved with gemstones, it would be the best home ever. Yes, as long as you pass the selection. Also, please don't disturb these butterflies. I gladly agreed to the mermaid girl's request. It seems like this lake was originally meant to be the territory for the merfolk. There is also a sizable garden in the Sky Garden, specifically designed for the Lamia clan to enjoy a tropical rainforest climate and music. It even has a special system that can make it rain automatically. In the past, I couldn't understand why the Sky Garden had such a complex ecosystem. Even mages with magic towers during the Divine Era didn't need to create so many separate gardens. Now, she understood that everything here had a reason. The interconnected yet independent gardens were like small kingdoms, specially prepared for certain young girls of a particular race. However, in order to obtain the right to live here, they still had to go through the final trial. Okay, no matter what the test is, we will pass. Wow, I can't believe the inside of the Divine Era Tower is like this. It's like a heavenly world. Living here is like a dream come true. I must pass the assessment and become a Knight of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. After I made the promise, almost every girl who came to participate in the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order lit up with excitement. The magical environment that rivals the Divine Era. Beautiful lakes everywhere adorned with gemstones. A beautiful garden that can only be seen in dreams in a large amount. The whole tower, just like a dream, being able to live here and become a member of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, it feels like a dream come true. For a princess like Roland, there are hidden secrets of the Divine Era here, and she wants to find them no matter what. For noble and wealthy girls, everything here represents wisdom and wealth. For common girls, this place is a dream and hope. The girls from a different race simply love it here. The magical environment of the Divine Era makes their bloodline power in their bodies emit a comfortable sound, full of vitality. Sia, open the door. Seeing each excited girl, Ein's guilt and sense of guilt slightly eased. At least, she gave them a chance, a dream, right? Even if this dream is built on a lie that deceived the world. Boom! The ancient gate slowly opened, revealing a wide pathway leading underground. If we occasionally have visitors on the upper floors of the tower, the lower part of the tower is off-limits to everyone except for the royal bloodline of the kingdom. Hidden here is the biggest secret of the entire Divine Era Tower, a secret that even the current Tower Master Ein only recently discovered. Chapter 1067 The Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order's aspiring members, totaling around 3,000, were divided into different groups, curiously observing the slowly opening gate. In the past, Ein always found it strange why there would be such a large pool underground in the tower, with a diameter exceeding 1 kilometer. Was it for the dragons to bathe? Now she realizes that her speculation wasn't just an idle thought. This enormous pool, with a diameter exceeding 1 kilometer, is indeed prepared for the dragons, or rather, for the hatching of dragon eggs. In fact, the entire tower may have been constructed as a special building for this purpose. Let's do a simple calculation. A bathhouse that is about 100 square meters can accommodate around 50 people. But this is a super large bathhouse built for dragons. It can easily fit over 10,000 people at once. Even if the entire Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, which is not even 1/3 of 10,000 people, enters this huge bathhouse together, it will be easy. Even large units like Lamia and trolls would fit just fine. It seems like the designer who built this super large bathhouse had considered the number of people from the beginning. Even if the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order continues to add members, there is no need to worry. Should we say that the designer thought everything through, or did they anticipate that after the magic tide weakened, the method of hatching dragon eggs must rely on quantity to surpass quality? With the constant thoughts of the book, the correct method of hatching dragon eggs, in his mind, Ein led the unaware Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order preparatory team into the ancient passage. Unlike the passage to the tower, the murals and history of the kingdom have nothing to do with this passage. On it, there are countless complex and incomprehensible formulas that have puzzled the generation after generation of Divine-era bloodline warlocks who came here to bathe. The data, symbols, and the entire civilization of Sia's world shown by these formulas don't fit at all, as they don't look like something from this world. More than one Divine-era bloodline warlock who resides in this tower believes that these writings come from the stars. The symbols and formulas on them are the crystallization of wisdom beyond this world. Sadly, until now, no one has been able to decipher the meaning represented by these formulas and writings. It's like a primary school student who only knows addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division trying to calculate the trajectory of stars. The difference is just too great. Walking through a long corridor, a tremendously large underground space appeared in front of all the aspiring members of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. On the ceiling, unlike the artificial sun in the sky garden, there was a silver moon surrounded by countless stars, each one shining brightly, enhancing the brilliance of the silver moon. Below the silver moon was a huge water pool. With a diameter of over 1,000 meters, almost reaching 2,000 meters, this pool was so big that even dragons could freely frolic inside, making it truly like an artificial lake. In the center of the pool was a light cluster emitting a hazy glow, giving off an incredible feeling. Surrounding this tremendously large water pool were a series of palaces with various styles, most of them designed for human-sized beings, but there were also large buildings clearly meant for different races. The scale of the entire palace complex was even larger than the inner gardens of the tower on the ground, enough to accommodate tens of thousands of people living and thriving here. Paths made of clean circular slabs connected the palaces to each other, each slab engraved with simple and beautiful patterns, showcasing their antique and aesthetic designs. Each of these rings connected to form a huge circular pattern, representing the pinnacle of Divine-era art, symbolizing the supreme authority of the mages. The entire palace complex revolves around the enormous water pool, resembling a pattern of stars and moons in the sky, with stars surrounding and protecting the pool. The closest to the water pool are 12 palaces, each adorned with different constellations. These are constellations that the people of this world cannot observe directly, and can only have a general idea of their names. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. These constellations are named the Zodiac Constellation Group, but Ein doesn't understand the significance of this special structure. Currently, only the 6th palace, Virgo, among the 12 Zodiac palaces is open, and it is the only one that leads to the water pool. Along the side of the palace complex, there are numerous square-topped stone column magic lamps, called Divine-era artworks that can emit light simply by absorbing the free magic in the air. These magic lamps no longer light up in modern times, but they still work normally in the underground palace group of this tall tower, just like during the Divine Era. This is where you will live from now on. After being selected by the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, you can choose a suitable palace to live in according to your own race. Other palaces can be freely used, except for the closed 11 palaces. With great excitement, Ein finally arrived at the huge pool. Today, the pool, which had been silent for who knows how many years, was noticeably different. Ein saw for the first time that the originally clear and transparent water in the pool was filled with many milky white particles of light. A large number of fairy butterflies, who usually only reside in the fairy garden, were flying around the unidentified object in the center of the pool, humming a joyful tune. That was a song that human ears could not understand, belonging to the fairies. La la la. He he he. Woo woo woo. Oh oh oh. Even though they couldn't communicate with words and had different forms of existence, the girls from the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order could tell that these fairy butterflies were very happy. Those white light particles were the magical powder that the fairy butterflies scattered from their wings, a pure crystallization of magic. Working hard every day to collect honey and pollinate, the fairy butterflies instinctively absorbed the magic into their wings, ultimately brewing the sweet fairy nectar used to create perfect gemstones. Now, they brought out all of their cherished fairy nectar and merged it with the water in the pool. The magical powder absorbed by the fairy butterflies, known as fairy dust, was a rare material that could be absorbed by any race. If they were to take out this pool water now, they could sell it directly to those alchemist warlocks at a thrilling price. The light cluster in the center of the pool became even more mysterious and filled with unknown allure under the cover of abundant fairy dust. Now that they had arrived here, I didn't need to hide anything anymore. Take it off. Chapter 1068, Take off what? Your Majesty, is the selection about to begin? The water here is very shallow, do we have to fight in this? Nobody considered this pool, which had a diameter of over 1,000 kilometers, as a bathing pool. It was simply too unreasonable. Nobody took take off as an order to remove clothes. How could that be possible? Alright, let's fight. Unable to hear clearly what Ein said, Saramanda couldn't wait any longer and jumped out, grabbing his troll-specific heavy axe and provoking everyone. There's not a single decent opponent, all of you come at once, don't waste time. Princess Heidi, the mermaid, dipped her snow-white long legs into the pool to check its temperature. She unexpectedly found that it was the perfect temperature for her skin and that the water contained a significant amount of pure magic. No matter how mediocre their talent, even the most average mermaid could possibly advance here. The environment here was truly unique and favorable. Saramanda, this selection is not about fighting. Ein slowly approached the biggest troublemaker in the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order's selection process. She gently extended her finger, pointing it towards him. As the highest authority holder of this tower, if she were outside the tower, she might not have any means to deal with this troll. After all, her reputation as the Nuclear Blast Queen was purely a result of misunderstandings by others. However, as long as she entered this tower, she would have an absolute advantage. Facing Saramanda, who had accepted her second-level authority, she could easily control him with her highest authority. What? Saramanda realized that his body was completely pressed down by Ein's finger. The sensation felt as if that slender finger weighed more than a mountain. It wasn't simply a difference in strength, but rather an indescribable restraint. Her proud power could not even be exerted by 1% in this place. This was the true strength of the Nuclear Blast Queen. With just one finger, she could make Earthchild unable to stand up. She knew that there was a gap in strength, but she couldn't comprehend the extent of this overwhelming difference. She hadn't even used her forbidden spell, which was truly strange. Take it off, Ein said, whether as a warning to others or as an example to set, and lightly touched Saramanda's unruly forehead with his fingertips. Whoosh! With a sound, the sturdy fire lizard skin armor that Saramanda brought from the troll clan fell off her body, revealing the impressive chest that made the entire Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order feel inferior. It was just so big. With a height of 3 meters and a perfect figure, it boasted a pair of peaks that no human woman could compare to huge fruits that couldn't even be grasped with both hands. In addition, there were legs that truly lived up to their name despite being a troll. They were not at all bulky, but rather slender and approaching the golden ratio. What was supposed to be protruding was protruding and what was supposed to be concave was concave. Even the previously dense fur was now smooth and clearly visible. Ahem, Ein thought, this troll's figure is quite impressive, much to his surprise. Especially the chest, once unleashed from the tight fire lizard skin armor, it was much larger than imagined. Hey, does this even matter? Saramanda said, completely unconcerned about being stripped naked. Because trolls live in volcanic areas, they mostly wear simple animal fur and can last a year. Fire lizard skin with fire resistance is preferred. The leather armor Saramanda is wearing is made by the fire lizard king that she killed. It is light and durable. I said, take it off. Then, go there for the assessment. Ein pointed to the white light cluster in the center of the bath. There is the hope of the world, the only reason for the existence of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Assessment. How is it done? Isn't it just fighting? Saramanda was confused. How could the assessment of a Knight Order not test combat skills? If we only needed strength, I wouldn't have gathered so many people. Ein looked at the girls who still didn't know the truth, and it was time to tell them the way of the assessment. This time, the assessment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order is about testing the affinity with sacred objects. There lies a great sacred object that has been sleeping since the divine era. This is a lie. This sacred tall tower has always protected this holy object, waiting for its Su to wake up. Not long ago, there were signs of the holy object awakening Su. As the tower master of the tall tower, it is my responsibility to help restore Su. This is also a lie. The establishment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order was because of the calling of the holy object. Only pure, beautiful young girls can resonate with the holy object. This is the truth, but not the complete truth. Therefore, only a girl who can prove her pure heart can pass the assessment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order and become a member of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Weaving lies and truth together, it's equally difficult to deceive one person and deceive the whole world when the other person lacks information. This is the queen of nuclear explosions, carrying the centuries light chosen by Ein, the Silver Dragon's promise. No one doubted her, even Princess Roland from the opposing empire believed it to be the truth. Because the sacred object of the divine era is right in front of them, within reach. The immense life force radiating from that sacred object made everyone's heart race and face blush. No wonder, it's all because of a girl who is not yet 18. The depth of the kingdom's heritage is truly unfathomable. Here, there are still remnants of the real divine artifact. The princess knights of the empire stared intently at the milky white light cluster, eager to give it a try. Roland took a deep breath and made up her mind. She absolutely wanted to pass the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order and gain the power of this special object. If it wasn't for the call of the sacred item, I probably wouldn't have opened this place. She also couldn't control the power of this sacred object. Maybe her power from the ancient sacred item is what gives her the ability to use the nuclear explosion forbidden spell. Well, in a way, this could be considered a lucky coincidence. How are they going to test us? After learning about the selection process of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, Saramanda confidently held her giant axe and eagerly stared at the huge cluster of white light. You have to walk up to it and touch it with your bare skin. You can't wear any clothes or use any weapons or equipment. Hold on to it and don't let go. The longer you can hold on, the higher your affinity will be. Chapter 1069. Those who can hold on for more than 10 seconds meet the qualification standards of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. If you can hold on for more than 30 seconds, you meet the excellent standard of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. If you can hold on for more than 1 minute, you can be directly appointed as a team leader of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. If you can hold on for more than 5 minutes, you can be appointed as a captain of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. If you can hold on for more than 10 minutes, you can freely choose the members you need and form your own exclusive team. According to the standard time recorded in How to Hatch Dragon Eggs, I announced the entry criteria for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. The levels of 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 1 minute, and 3 minutes don't actually exist in the correct method for hatching dragon eggs. The lowest standard recorded there is actually more than 10 minutes. The longest time can even exceed 1 hour, based on the bloodline standards of the divine era. It often only requires a pure and innocent girl of less than 100 to achieve the standard of continuously hatching eggs for 24 hours. Unfortunately, this is not the divine era, and there are no more pure divine era bloodlines to be found throughout the continent. The only option is to compensate for the lack of quality with a larger number of people. This is so easy, anyone can pass the assessment. Saramanda disdainfully put down her giant axe and confidently walked towards the white light cluster. Here, right here, that sound. The closer Saramanda got to the white light cluster, the more a certain sound surged in her heart, a sound that had been calling her since her battle with Morris began. An unfamiliar but irresistible heartbeat. Why did it seem like none of these people heard it, even though it was so loud, so charming, this heartbeat? Closer, even closer. 10 minutes, it was just too simple. She would hold on to it tightly, not letting go for 1 or 2 hours, making others envy and resent. From the moment Saramanda saw this white light cluster, she had a strong possessiveness. This was hers, what she wanted. No one else wanted to give up the treasure that she alone possessed. Why would I give something that she likes to someone else? Bump. 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 Her heart started pounding even harder. It was a true resonance, a strong emotion Saramanda had never experienced before. Oh no, this is really captivating, I must get my hands on it. It made her blush and her heart race even more than her previous favorite big stick and later her favorite big axe. What kind of feeling is this? Even though it's the first time seeing it and she still doesn't know what it looks like, she can't help but fall in love with it. It's like love at first sight. Hey! With the girl's wild intuition, Saramanda hugged the big, soft, and slippery unidentified object tightly. Since it was really big, even bigger than her, she couldn't completely wrap her hands around it. But the feeling was so amazing, almost like melting. This illusion lasted only about a second. In the next second, Saramanda, who was in close contact with the mysterious object, couldn't help but let out a cute moan. It was very loud, making many young girls shyly lower their heads, unable to look directly, but couldn't help but sneak a peek. Saramanda's mind went blank and she felt like she was floating, as if she was flying. The skin attached to the white light cluster turned blush after blush, as if invisible hands were touching and kneading her smooth body. She couldn't resist, couldn't move, trapped in place, not even when fighting the Fire Lizard King had she ever been so helpless. The unfamiliar sensation engulfed her whole body, and she could only bite down hard, trying to restrain herself from making strange sounds. Unfortunately, that was impossible. The most sensitive part of the body was being continuously invaded. The smooth and tight sensation made it impossible to resist and caused the whole body to tremble. Gulp. Saramanda felt like a small boat thrown into a fierce storm, her body and heart being sucked into a huge whirlpool, without knowing what to do. The dragon's spiritual energy engulfing her whole body was not only taking, but also had a gentle and melodious side, entwined with passion, intoxicating and alluring. Soon, Saramanda's breath became more and more rapid, her limbs weaker and weaker, blindly and helplessly swinging. Her long legs unconsciously closed together, tightly holding the smooth surface of the silver dragon egg. The dragon's spiritual energy entering her body swelled and became wetter, followed by more rubbing, trembling, feeling wave after wave of pleasure, comfort, and expansion. Every tremble, every rub, her whole body felt weak and numb. That feeling of being tight, swollen, completely filled, and the white fairy dust sprinkled around, forget about 1 or 2 hours, not even 10 minutes could be endured. Saramanda slipped down from the dragon egg wrapped in a white halo, like a limp octopus. Gah-haw. Saramanda, who couldn't even withstand 10 minutes, showed a look of immense humiliation. She stretched out her hand with all her might, still looking like she wanted to continue the fight. That's enough, if you keep going, your body will break. Ain reached out and helped the completely limp Saramanda. After getting close to the dragon egg, they both knew very well what the outcome would be. It was surprising that Saramanda could endure for almost 10 minutes, showing unexpected excellence. In this intimate ritual with the dragon egg, physical strength mattered little. It was all about the affinity with the dragon's spiritual energy overflowing from the egg. Being able to last close to 10 minutes on the first attempt was almost as good as Saramanda, who had a pure bloodline as a divine-era warlock. It meant her body had great compatibility with the dragon egg. What an enviable body. Perhaps this wasn't even her limit. Seeing Saramanda nearly faint, Ain felt a slight pain in his chest. This was a secret and privilege that belonged only to herself and Adley, reluctantly shared with others. Why didn't she have more sisters? If she could have exclusive possession of Lord Silver Dragon like this, it would have been so wonderful. Don't be fooled by the fact that Saramanda only lasted for less than 10 minutes. She relied solely on her physical constitution to withstand it, without any techniques or methods. Ain believed that if he were to confront the endless dragon roar waves with willpower like Saramanda did, he would probably surrender completely within 5 minutes. She was able to endure for 15 minutes because she used the warlock's method to respond to the invading dragon's spiritual energy in her body, fully accepting its presence and allowing it to do as it pleased with her body. If you see this ritual as a way to communicate with the magnificent silver dragon, her choice was to voluntarily offer her body and let the great silver dragon enjoy it to the fullest. Adley was initially clueless, but her body was perfectly compatible with the dragon's spiritual energy, so she was able to persist for 30 minutes. Saramanda, on the other hand, was completely resistant, struggling and resisting, even though she was no match. She persisted until her consciousness was almost gone, her mind blank. Among the special rituals experienced by only 3 people, her aftermath was the most severe. Not even the cheating nature of the troll clan could help her. She has now completely fallen into a coma. In comparison, Ain doesn't have the natural talents that Adley has, nor the stubbornness and determination that Saramanda possesses. So she is actually the weakest among the 3. This truth is truly speechless. It was clearly her who first had an intimate encounter with the great Lord Silver Dragon. Adley being like this is one thing, but why does even this rough troll seem to have more talent in this regard than her? Is she not working hard enough? How can she improve in this aspect of talent? Puff! Puff! After playing happily to her heart's content, Saramanda heard a mysterious voice coming from the silver dragon egg. I understand, Lord Silver Dragon. Offering assessment, continue. Chapter 1070. Hold on, Big Sister Saramanda. Big Sister, what's happening? Is the assessment really this difficult? Big Sister, wake up. The young girls of the troll clan hurriedly surrounded Saramanda, checking her breath and listening to her heartbeat from time to time. They, who knew nothing about affectionate things, thought that Saramanda's cries were screams of pain, and then they thought she had been hit by a deadly attack and fainted. In a way, they are not wrong. Since she could remember, they had never seen Saramanda's team being defeated, but this time they were truly scared, and it left a huge impact on their minds about the assessment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Princess, this assessment seems to be very difficult. Even that monster troll couldn't last for more than 10 minutes, so it's probably really hard to meet the minimum standard of 10 seconds for a normal person. What exactly is the origin of that sacred object? Let's go for the assessment a bit later, I have some concerns about it. The Princess Knight team, who were also pure-hearted in a way, started to consider Roland's suggestion of not acting hastily and observing more people's assessments before making a decision. No, I want to go second, Roland shook his head. She was lagging behind her best friend Ayn and even the troll who seemed rude and rough in her eyes. She couldn't afford to be underestimated anymore. She wants people to know that the Princess of the Empire is not afraid of any challenge. She will never cry out in pain, even if she sees the most dangerous trials during the assessment, she will bite her lip and stay silent. Princess Roland of the Empire should have such dignity and determination. She wants to prove to everyone that she can endure much longer than the troll monster Saramanda from earlier. Betting on the glory of Leviathan Empire's princess, she will definitely achieve a score of more than 10 minutes. Taking off her gloves, she reveals a pair of delicate and pretty little hands, and then removes her exclusive Princess Knight armor, showing her snow-white and flawless skin. Without any cosmetics, the skin of the Empire Princess is so soft and tender, it doesn't look like a body that has been through tough training. On her slim teenage body, there is not a single flaw, just like a perfect work of art from an artist's brush. This is thanks to the unique knight inheritance of the Leviathan Empire, created by the first knight who rebelled against the Sia Kingdom and established his own empire. The first knight with pure royal bloodline from Sia Kingdom, completely abandoned the traditional knight path handed down from the divine era, and embarked on a brand new path of knighthood. Knights who follow this path can train to become elite knights, even if they are ordinary people. This is the foundation of the Imperial Army.O. And if they have royal bloodline, they also possess a special ability to heal any injuries to their bodies. Roland's body is the perfect embodiment of this knight inheritance. If it were the era filled with magic from the divine era, she could directly advance to become a hero-ranked knight with this perfect body. In fact, after coming to this divine era ruin and immersing herself in the pervasive magic in the air, Roland has already shown signs of a vague advancement. Unlike Morris, who needed to form a contract with an indescribable entity to break through, Roland's breakthrough came naturally, without any side effects. It was a nearly perfect breakthrough. Taking off all her armor, leaving only her undergarments, Roland became the second person to take the plunge in front of her sister and younger sister's gaze. When approaching the mysterious white light cluster, Roland even gave off a taste of sacrifice and redemption, like a martyr. Roland, have you really made up your mind? Even though Roland was the one who had put her best friend in this situation, and even though Ayn was specially chosen by Roland, she couldn't help but ask her. Once the lies begin, they cannot be stopped. This secret should remain a forever secret. Yes, what Saramanda can do, I can do too, and even better, Princess Roland, who has already seen the path to hero rank, fearlessly walked past her best friend with great courage. When they brushed shoulders, she seemed to hear her best friend Ayn whispering softly. I'm sorry, Roland. Why apologize, Ayn? Is it because touching that divine artifact is such a dangerous thing? Even so, neither you nor I have a way back. Those carefree and joyful moments under the afternoon sun are gone forever. Speaking of apologies, I actually want to apologize more. I'm sorry, Ayn, I can't stop my father and my brother's ambitions. Even though I have the entire Princess Knight group, I am still very weak and can no longer stand on the same stage as you. After walking hundreds of meters, Roland took a deep breath and bravely touched the mysterious ancient creature with his own hands, knowing they could break. Pafu Roland heard the voice, filled with urgent anticipation, calling out to him like a summon. Then, she experienced the same tragedy as Saramanda, instantly being attacked and overwhelmed by the powerful spiritual energy of the enormous dragon. Pear blossoms weigh down the crabapple tree. The wind blows, the rain falls, and flowers drift down like red petals. The first cry of a virgin is weak and delicate. The dragon's spiritual energy, which had already tasted victory on Saramanda, struck again. At first, it moved slowly and shallowly, but before long, it gathered momentum and became as comfortable on Roland's delicate body as a fish in water. Suddenly, Roland was attacked over and over again, with each attack getting stronger and harder to defend against. Despite not having the experience or the strength of Saramanda, Roland was completely defeated. No, this isn't an assessment. What is this? Why is my body completely unresponsive? My hands, feet, and body are being invaded and trampled by something unfamiliar. It's so terrifying. What is this? Why can't I fight back at all? It's not just pain, even if it hurts, I can bear it by gritting my teeth. But this feeling sobs my body is falling apart. No. Don't go there. There, it's not right, don't go inside. Ah woo. Like a small unsoft helpless kitten, cute and pitiful cries echoed continuously in the enormous bath. The Empire's Princess Roland unfortunately became the second girl to fall in front of the divine artifact after Saramanda of the Troll clan. It took 6.5 minutes. Ein said, this can be understood because the dragon's spiritual energy of the Great Lord Silver Dragon completely ignores defense and deals real damage. Chapter 1071, Plop. Roland's snow-white delicate body softly fell into the water next to the white light cluster, creating ripples. Roland, sister. Princess. Other princess knights and guards from the Empire's camp rushed over in a fluster, thinking something unfortunate had happened to her. Ugh, can't do it. Roland's face turned bright red. Being a girl who still didn't understand what it meant to be a man and a woman, these few minutes of intense pleasure were too overwhelming. That melting-like sensation, wave after wave of surging tide, completely overwhelmed this princess knight from the Leviathan Empire. That is it, right? I haven't tried it myself, but I've often heard that sound outside my dad's bedroom. When I went to my sister's house to get married, I also heard my sister make that kind of sound. Compared to the princesses of the Leviathan Empire, the girls from the Merchant Alliance understand what that sound represents better. After all, merchants' families don't have as strict discipline as nobles, so they tend to mature earlier than noble daughters. Many girls from merchant families who are not yet 18 have already gotten married and had children. If it weren't for the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order this time, they might have been married off in 1 or 2 years. After all, not every girl has the treatment of an Empire princess. Even getting married is related to the political situation of the Empire. Merchants prefer to marry into those fallen noble families to obtain tickets to the upper society in the Empire and Kingdom. The Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order is a special knight group made up entirely of underage girls, something that didn't even exist in the Divine Era. Most of the girls were actually quite nervous before coming here, afraid of being eliminated from this selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. If it were based on martial skills, most of them are just ordinary girls who don't meet any recruitment requirements of a formal knight order. Compared to the knight squads of the Empire princesses, the Wilderness Bride group of the Northern United Kingdom, and the exotic teams from Leviathan, their combat power can be almost completely ignored. However, now they seem to understand to some extent that this selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order doesn't seem to be related to martial skills. The powerful troll, who can easily tear apart magic armor, and the Empire's top princess knight, both quickly fell in battle. The mysterious white light cluster, mentioned by Queen Ein as a divine artifact, seems to require something other than strength. So that's how it is. It seems like whatever is inside is not simple at all. The third to step forward was Immerse, one of the ace members of the Leviathan faction, the only Leviathan priest who can counter the cheating race of trolls in close combat. Immerse smoothly took off the clothes she wasn't used to wearing, revealing her ample and soft snow-white bosom. She swayed her long tail and swam towards the white light cluster, deep in thought. The Lamia clan, a large land combat unit, possesses snake tails that can easily entangle even mammoths to death. Every Lamia's tail is a powerful weapon they are born with. Facing the mysterious white light cluster, which stands over 3 meters tall, Immerse, as a Lamia priestess, had a strange premonition. It seems that whatever is inside this light cluster is of vital importance to the entire Lamia clan. This impulsive feeling is a natural ability possessed by Immerse, who has a magic eye since birth. This journey to the human kingdom is something she fully supports and personally leads the team to accomplish. Compared to the Troll clan, who occasionally interacted with humans, the Lamia clan, who lived in swamps and tropical rainforest areas, had even greater distances from humans because they had a half-human, half-snake form. The Troll clan, who are used to wearing clothes, are very satisfied with human weapons. Every year, brave merchants come to the volcano area where the trolls live to exchange weapons for rare minerals. There are no human forces brave enough to trade with the Lamia clan. Humans cannot accept the terrifying long tail of the Lamia clan. Humans can accept troll and dwarf humanoid races, but they have never considered Lamias as a branch of humans. Well, Lamias also think so. They have a closer blood relationship with dragon races than humans do. Comparing to humans, the blood ties between the Lamia clan and the Mermaid clan are even closer. They are both monster races that dragons trust most. Because of this, Immerse's forehead with the magical eye feels warm when she gets close to the silver dragon egg protected by the white light cluster, as if it is reminding her of something. Is it okay to get entangled? Immerse asked Queen Ain, who had clearly undergone this ritual before the assessment. It's possible, with you. Even Ain didn't expect the Lamia clan to participate in this Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order assessment. This race, which was once the most skilled commander in the Leviathan faction, can be said to be the natural enemy of humans. If trolls are the elite infantry known for their powerful charges, then Lamias are the versatile core unit in the Leviathan faction. Unlike trolls, who only know how to mindlessly charge forward and attack even their own kind, Lamias are very good at coordinating with other units. During the Divine Era War, Lamia priests were mostly commanders in the Leviathan faction, and only they could control those mindless monsters with their magic eye abilities, leading them in fearless charges against the human army. In a sense, Lamias, possessing intelligence equal to that of humans, are more fearsome opponents in war than trolls, who only know how to charge forward. If their population was not as scarce as trolls, the difficulty for humans to win the war for the continental crown would increase by another level. Alright then, I'll go. Unlike the dim-witted Saramanda and the overly prim and proper Princess Roland, Immerse, as a Lamia priestess, knew exactly what kind of sound they just made. It was not a sound of pain, but a mixture of peaks and trembling cries, as the girls walked up the stairs and discovered the first cries of a wider world. The characteristics of the Lamia clan often allowed her to hear similar sounds. After all, with their snake-like bodies, the Lamia women need to intertwine with their loved ones for up to 12 hours in order to conceive and bear children. From a very young age, the Lamia clan's girls would receive education in this area, learning how to conceive offspring with their future partners without harming them. Well, by the way, in this world, the Lamia clan doesn't have any males either. Chapter 1072 How do the Lamia clan, without any males, reproduce in this world? They don't have any fantasy species like the water god's world sail jellyfish to help them. The answer is hunting. They search for powerful male monsters, force them into mating, and then collect their vital life essence to lay Lamia eggs. During this process, the prey suffers greatly, being continuously drained, even until the last drop of blood is taken by the Lamias, resulting in a truly horrifying fate. In order to obtain powerful life essence, Lamias often seek out monstrously large creatures as fathers and are skilled at outnumbering them. For humans, it was an unimaginable nightmare scene. Lamias with long snake-like tails would lock their prey's bodies with their tails and use a unique mating method of the Lamia clan, constantly squeezing the unfortunate captured object. In order to obtain the highest quality life essence, Lamias often use forbidden magic-eye techniques to keep the captured male monsters in an extreme state, constantly reaching their peak while on the verge of death, and ultimately draining their lifeblood until death. In history, there have been heroes with the human divine era bloodline who were chosen by Lamias. The result, it turns out that humans are not as useful as fire lizard kings. Their life essence is completely insufficient to support mating for more than 12 hours at a time, so humans were lucky enough to be excluded from Lamia's hunting list. Recently, due to the excessively long period of magic tide decline, it has become increasingly difficult to find prey with abundant life essence. The reproduction rate of Lamias has also been declining year by year, much like the troll clan. As for the dragon race, whose reproductive rate is even more devastating, even mermaids, Lamias, and trolls who are their subordinates have no idea if they still exist in this world. The giant dragons, who possess the ocean crown, disappeared from the presence of any intelligent beings hundreds of years ago. The Leviathan faction lost its substantive leader and is now in a fragmented state, with each tribe standing as its own group. So, when Ain and Adlik showed signs of dragons, the girls from the Leviathan faction were shocked. Could it be inside this? As the priestess of the Lamia clan, Maros knew a secret unknown to others. The Lamia clan actually has an extraordinary intimate relationship with the dragons. Until hundreds of years ago, the Lamia clan's ideal mating partner was a giant dragon. The Lamia priestesses inherited their magic-eye from the dragon's power. With the disappearance of the giant dragons, the bloodline power of the Lamia clan started to weaken. This was true for almost all the races of the Leviathan faction. After humans started to decline, they still had a large population advantage and didn't have to worry about their descendants. But for the Leviathan faction, which already had a small population, this was a matter of life or death. As the most outstanding young priestess of the Lamia clan, Maros could clearly feel the strong and pure aura surrounding her at the moment. Just breathing the air here could make her whole body feel warm. This was a unique phenomenon called dragon's drunkenness in the Lamia clan. This was truly the best object. Even if I didn't say anything, Maros was certain that within this white light cluster was a giant dragon hidden. Moreover, this was a dragon that had never been recorded by the Lamia clan, a completely unfamiliar one. Over the course of a long time, members of the Lamia clan had intimate contact with the dragon race more than once, but never had they recorded such a strong and powerful aura. It was only natural that humans couldn't withstand this kind of aura. This was an essence of life that far surpassed human imagination, perhaps even the highest level of aura in this world. I'm not polite anymore. Maros gently licked her lips and quickly stretched her body, wrapping her 6-meter-long snake tail around the cluster of white lights. One circle, then another circle. Unlike Saramanda's rushing around or Roland struggling, Maros wholeheartedly and completely enjoyed this wonderful mating time. The enormous spiritual energy of the dragon swept over Maros's entire body, from the tip of her tail to the ends of her hair, making her emit a contented and joyful sound. That sound made the other Lamia girls, who had known how to mate skillfully since they were young, blush, and their tails couldn't help but wave around, causing small splashes. Ah, ah. Ugh, ugh. Without any resistance, Maros completely surrendered her body to the dragon's invading spiritual energy, pressing her chest tightly against the silver dragon egg in the white light cluster, occasionally using her own smooth, white skin to rub this huge dragon egg. Hiss. When her emotions reached their peak, her forehead's magic-eye naturally opened, and then all 3 eyes gazed affectionately at the dragon egg in her embrace, emitting a low hissing sound similar to that of a snake. Whoosh! 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 The snake's tail excitedly convulsed and twitched, then secreted the unique fragrance of the Lamia clan's females, fully indulging in the dragon's spiritual energy that was so familiar to the Lamia clan's body structure. The owner of this powerful energy, I wonder which great dragon it is, seems to be very accustomed to getting cozy with the Lamia clan. Immerse, overwhelmed by the wandering path of the dragon's spiritual energy, bit her own hair and her ears turned bright red, feeling all worn out. Well, indeed, this isn't the first time. The Lamia clan's unique sensitive spots, slightly different intimate habits from humans, and the rhythm of entwining with their winding snake tails were all skillfully accompanied by the overflowing dragon's spiritual energy from the silver dragon egg. After all, this is the person who married an entire Lamia clan bride from a certain world. The rhythm of the dragon's spiritual energy echoed, making Lamias unable to resist and involuntarily emit lovely sounds, wave after wave. Ah, 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 ah. In the continuous and charming voice, Immerse, who perfectly found the rhythm and method, surpassed everyone's expectations and directly broke through the 10-minute barrier, before finally softly detaching from the white light cluster. Compared to the breathless Saramanda and Roland, Immerse clearly seemed more like the victor. The long snake tail twisted into an S shape and then into an M shape, expressing Lamia clan's unique pleasure. This is amazing. Despite exhausted physical strength, Immerse had a satisfied expression on her face, much more composed than the first time with Ein and Adley. This woman is a formidable rival. Ein, who witnessed everything, felt a sudden sense of crisis. Lamia, truly a deserving name for a monster. Chapter 1073. After Immerse, leading by example, demonstrated how to undergo the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order assessment, the girls of the Lamia clan seemed to understand what she was doing. Even among the young human girls, some of them understood the trial of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, although they couldn't imagine the truth. I'll go. It's my turn. I want to go. With the enthusiastic Lamia girls volunteering, the atmosphere suddenly became lively for those unaware young girls who dreaded the trial. You all, remember to follow the etiquette, okay? Immerse lazily waved her snake tail, not even wearing her clothes, and started to bathe in a corner of the giant pool. This feeling is amazing. It looks like it was prepared specifically for this kind of ceremony. Looking at her cheeks blushing in the snow and her comfortable snake tail soaking in warm water, Immerse gained a deeper understanding of the truth behind the trial of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. This is not just a whim of Queen Ein, but a very ancient and sacred ritual. Including the establishment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, everything felt like it was meant to be. Just after a brief exchange, she could visibly feel her bloodline power increasing. Ah, ah, ah. The shy voice of the Lamia clan girl echoed again in the vast bath. It was the melody of love, a response to the immense and fiery dragon's spiritual energy. Without the resistance of Saramanda, and without the embarrassing defeat of Princess Roland, the Lamia clan girls, just like Immerse, indulged in the thrilling and passionate process. This is the correct way to assess the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, to willingly embrace the stimulation of the dragon's spiritual energy, and then experience a collective fusion of body and mind. Smack! The fallen Lamia girl was gently led by her kinsman to Immerse's side, adopting the same tail-wagging posture as Immerse, too weak even to exert strength in her fingers. The amount of time she persisted for was 5 minutes, slightly shorter than the Empire's Princess Roland. Considering her abilities, it was a remarkable number. How does it feel? Have you felt the immense, scorching? Immerse whispered quietly to the girl from her own clan, as their earlobes began to blush with cuteness. It's so hot, so big. I never imagined it would be like that. The Lamia girl, completely exhausted and weak, quivered in the chest area, and her long snake tail spasmed in sections. The feeling of continuously reaching new peaks, as if each mountain was higher than the previous, was truly exhilarating and soul-stirring. From the tip of her tail to the tips of her fingers, every part of her body was swept away by the powerful waves. The tingling sensation made her feel like she was in heaven, a sight that was beyond beautiful. If it weren't for her physical exhaustion, she really wanted to continue. Lady Immerse, truly the best Lamia priestess. She managed to endure for more than 10 minutes during the constantly intensifying peak time. Don't be surprised. We will probably have many more chances to experience such things in the future. This is not only a test for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, but also the purpose of its establishment, Immerse whispered to her subordinates as another girl from their clan completed the ceremony and was brought over by their fellow members. Ah, hiss, so exciting. This girl is the youngest participant in the selection process for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Despite enduring for over 4 minutes, her eyes were almost worn out. Compared to the older Lamia sisters, she had the weakest endurance in this matter. Even so, her 4-minute achievement proved the talent of the Lamia clan in this ritual similar to mating. Well done, you did great, good girl. Immerse reached out to touch the vacant expression in the eyes of her clan member, who seemed to still be recovering from the impact of the endless waves. For the Lamia clan, this level of energy was more intoxicating than the finest wine, a symptom that only appeared when mating with the dragon species at the top of the world pyramid. Bathed in the strong energy of the dragon, no Lamia could resist the phenomenon of dragon intoxication. Only the immense magical power and spiritual energy of the dragon could satisfy the energy needs of the Lamia without limits. Who knows, maybe we all have a chance to have children. Immerse said, looking content as she held a small tribal member against her chest, almost in a childlike state. Lamia's success in mating rituals depends on the energy levels of their partner. The more energy they receive, the stronger their vitality, and the higher the chances of getting pregnant and having stronger offspring. The dragon is the ideal mating target for the Lamia. All Leviathan priests, to some extent, have a connection to the dragon bloodline, dating back to their ancestors. For Immerse, discovering traces of the long-extinct dragons in this world was incredibly good news. Especially this unknown dragon, who possessed an enormous supply of energy that even the history of the Lamia clan had no records of. As a priestess of hero rank, she could only withstand the impact of this immense energy for 10 minutes. The normal mating time for Lamia is at least 6 hours. To make Lamias with strength comparable to trolls look like this, the unknown dragon's level of life is unheard of. Can I also have children? Qualified large monsters are becoming rare. All the available spots have already been taken by adult Lamias. It is said that the waiting list for appointments is already 20 years long, and underage Lamias don't even qualify for entry. In order to find suitable male partners, Lamias teamed up with mermaids and even caught giant creatures from the deep sea. However, the number of qualified individuals kept decreasing, and the birth rate of their clan has reached a very low level. They were very worried about their ability to have children. For Lamias who couldn't find a chance to become pregnant, this became their biggest regret in life. Influenced by what they heard and saw, even the young Lamias were worried about their future. As long as the magic tide remained weak, this problem seemed unsolvable. In the Lamia clan, more than 80% of the members have never been pregnant. Chapter 1074, Of course, that's possible, Immerse said with a slight smile, looking at the white light cluster with a burning gaze. With Lamia's adorable voices, the already small Lamia team quickly passed the assessment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Immerse naturally ranked first and was the only member of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order who lasted for 10 minutes and earned the right to choose her team. The other Lamias mostly scored between 5 to 6 minutes, and even the youngest little Lamia handed in an excellent answer sheet that took over 4 minutes. There is no doubt that the Lamia's performance relieved many people and created an illusion that this Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order assessment might not be so difficult. Having the right to be a team leader in just over 5 minutes is a brand new feature of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order on this continent. To become a team leader of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order led by Nuclear Blast Queen Ein herself is a lifetime glory to boast about. Soon, a brave commoner girl volunteered and took off her clothes, gathering courage to step forward, and more girls lined up in an orderly manner. At this moment, the girls seemed to understand why this bath was built so large. It was meant for the entire Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Aw, 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 aw. The girl's cry rang through the sky. The first commoner girl to participate in this Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order suddenly stood on her tiptoes, surrounded by a pink halo. She persisted for 5 seconds in the endless wave before falling down. Yes, even the lowest standard of 10 seconds was not reached. The unknown girl lost consciousness after only 5 seconds of blending with the enormous dragon's spiritual energy. 5 seconds. Are you kidding me? Is it really that difficult? Oh my, is she the first one to be eliminated? Poor little sister, she should have lasted at least 10 seconds. The girls who had never experienced the blending with the dragon's spiritual energy looked at the fallen girl with complicated expressions. Failing to last 10 seconds means that she didn't even meet the lowest requirement to join the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. It's really unfortunate. However, they soon realized that this was not an isolated case. The next 17 girls, one after another, couldn't hold on for 10 seconds. Before the assessment began, they all clenched their teeth and swore to endure any pain until the end, but it is not so easy to change the huge gap in their levels of life. Saramanda can endure for 7 minutes because she has the bloodline of an Earth child and has an extremely strong constitution. Princess Roland of the Empire can endure for more than 5 minutes because her body and mind have been trained to the limit of an ordinary person, and she is only 1 step away from being a hero ranked. Mirasa's exceptional 10 minutes is the result of Lamia's special adaptability, combined with her extraordinary strength. The 10-second standard set by Ein for joining the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order is not arbitrarily chosen, but based on his own experience. Only those who endure for 10 seconds can successfully complete a round of spiritual energy exchange with the Silver Dragon Egg, which is the minimum requirement. Those who last less than 10 seconds will not have the effect of hatching the egg. They will simply lose consciousness due to the impact of the dragon's spiritual energy released from the egg. Woo woo woo, may the gods bless me, I must endure for 10 seconds, and even more. The 18th girl participating in the assessment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, wearing the robes of a priestess, cried and prayed. Your words are fine, Ein shrugged as he watched the nun who was praying and pressing her snow-white skin against the white light cluster by stepping on the water ripples. The devoted nun who serves the gods is naturally strong-willed and has a much stronger spirit than ordinary people. She is also more adaptable to the Silver Dragon Egg. As Ein had expected, Miss Nun persisted for a full 30 seconds before falling down, blushing and confused, perfectly completing her task. Unfortunately, there were very few nuns who could meet all 3 requirements of underage, beautiful and cute, and pure of heart, so they had to cast a wide net and catch more fish. Among the normal people, someone successfully completed the trial and exceeded the 30-second time limit, which relieved the girls waiting in line. In fact, the nun's prayer before the trial suddenly became popular. Whether they believed in gods or not, when it was their turn to undergo the trial, they would show a pious expression and say, "May the gods bless me and let me pass. In the name of Sia, I have 3 older brothers and 2 younger brothers at home. I can't lose this job with the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Please bless me to pass. Great Lord Sia, I implore your protection. Please let me pass." At that moment, the assessment site of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order seemed like a large blessing ceremony in the church. The soft gasps and prayers of the girls blended together, weaving a wonderful and touching melody. I must say, this seemed to have some effect. After the young girls from all over the land began praying to Sia, their success rate suddenly increased by a lot. The probability of being eliminated gradually decreased from 70% to about 50%. Ayn took a small notebook and recorded the names of the successful and eliminated candidates, emphasizing those who took more than 3 minutes in the assessment. Among them, these are worth paying attention to. The Imperial Princess Knight Squad had an average ritual time of over 3 minutes. For humans, it can be said to be a top-notch achievement, truly worthy of being the descendants of the first Knight bloodline on the continent. The Wilderness Bride group was almost on par with the Imperial Princess Knight Squad, but they always seemed to be clueless, with clumsy movements. Surprisingly, the Gnomish girls from the other races performed excellently, with an average time of over 2 minutes. Despite everyone trembling before hugging the dragon egg, with fearful expressions as if they were saying, "I want to become a sacrifice," they actually performed exceptionally well when they got close to it. It is worth mentioning that their sensitivity seems to be several times higher than that of humans, and the sounds they emit are the most pitiful and touching. They all look like they were about to die or come back to life. Could it be that Lord Silver Dragon prefers younger children? With this doubt in mind, Ayn made a heavy note in their notebook. The constitution, spiritual power, and race all affect the hatching effectiveness. For now, Lamia and the dragon egg have the best adaptation. However, there is still one race left. The last one, the Mermaid Clan. Chapter 1075. Ayn had vivid memories about the Mermaid Clan. This is the most common race depicted in the back cover illustration of the book, The Correct Way to Hatch Dragon Eggs. They, who didn't wear anything, were the most beautiful sight in the enormous bathtub. Even though thousands of years had passed, Ayn could still hear the voices of mermaids singing around the gigantic dragon egg. If there was any race in the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order assessment that could easily uncover the truth, it would undoubtedly be the Mermaid Clan. They were the rare race that had actually participated in the dragon egg hatching ceremony during the Divine Era. They were also the specific designated rare race mentioned in the book, The Correct Way to Hatch Dragon Eggs. In the recent assessment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, the performance of the non-human races far surpassed that of humans. Humans could only manage a 50-50 split against the girls from the non-human races by relying on their quantity advantage of more than 10 times. This doesn't even include the Mermaid Clan because, up until now, no mermaid has participated in the selection for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Ever since they arrived at this enormous bathtub, they were the first group to strip off their clothes, and they seemed to thoroughly enjoy the water filled with Divine Era magic, showing no signs of anxiety. Surrounding the future successor of the tribe, Heidi, the mermaids smiled mysteriously as they watched the girls in the white light cluster doing various things with the silver giant egg, whispering in a language that Ayn couldn't understand. Within the Leviathan faction, the Mermaid Clan possesses the highest level of intelligence among the races in the ocean. Before the Dragon Clan disappeared, the Mermaid Clan was always the brightest gem on the ocean crown, assisting the dragons in ruling the sea. In the modern era, with no dragons in sight, the Mermaid Clan became the temporary ruler of the ocean crown, governing many different species in the ocean, truly deserving their title as the royal family of the sea. It's that one, right? There can't be any mistake. I didn't expect that there are still dragon eggs in this world. What kind of dragon egg is that? Even from this distance, it makes one's heart race. The priests of Lamia can recognize that the dragon, enveloped in the white light cluster, is a dragon, and the Mermaid Clan, who are closest to the dragons, cannot possibly fail to recognize them. Perhaps it is the dwarves who were once considered backup food by the dragons, but due to their excessive fear, they are unable to understand the truth. The civilization and history of the Mermaid Clan are even more ancient and profound than that of humans. This beautiful race, residing in the ocean, already built huge temples under the sea, praising the greatness of Leviathan, while competing with the dragon clan and giants for world dominance. Humans don't know the purpose of the Sea Kingdom's tower, but the mermaid clan who have visited here in the past are aware of it. However, they never imagined that there were still real dragon eggs in this world. As their owners, the giant dragon clan had already left, right? Heidi couldn't help but bite her finger as she looked at the extremely mysterious white light cluster, showing a look of immense curiosity. Being underage, Heidi, just like her sisters, had never seen a real dragon since birth. They only had contact with some treasures left by dragons in the mermaid clan. This world, with a severely weakened magic tide, was already unsuitable for dragons to survive in. Just like how mermaids don't like turning their tails into legs and walking on land, the low magical air was like a state of insufficient air for mighty dragons. Even breathing would be very difficult. One day, the dragons disappeared collective. They could no longer tolerate this world with air becoming impoverished and went to some other place. After that day, there was no news of dragons in this world anymore. Even lamias, who were the most loyal creatures to dragons, had no idea where they had gone. Heidi couldn't have dreamed that she would come into contact with such pure and powerful dragon's spiritual energy in the human world. Combining the information about this ancient relic in the mermaid clan and the assessment method of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order that I found difficult to understand, Heidi couldn't help but wonder what was inside that white light cluster. However, just like Miraz who discovered this secret, both she and I silently understood the truth. Lies, when someone helps confess, will change towards the truth. The Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, isn't it telling everyone the truth? It's not a lie. In Heidi's mysterious smile, all underage girls from humans and other races successfully completed this round of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order assessment. The number of qualified individuals who endured the hatching ceremony for 10 seconds is approximately 1,700 people. Among them, not a single underage girl from other races was eliminated, and most of them performed exceptionally well, surpassing humans by several levels. Among humans, only the Princess Knight Squad of the Leviathan Empire and the Wilderness Bride Group of the Northern Union Kingdom can compete with other races, while other factions are not even visible. Is it our turn to make an appearance? It's delightful to see those proud and arrogant humans having no chance. The strongest trump card should naturally make the final appearance. Take away their hopes, let them feel the gap. The mermaid girls are sure to win in this trial of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. There is no doubt that all of them understand the essence of this ceremony. During the Divine Era, the experiments conducted here by dragons were mostly attended by mermaids because of their innate talent. Just like the scenery depicted on the back cover of Ein's book, The Correct Way to Hatch Dragon Eggs, the mermaids have been showcasing their graceful movements and elegance in this huge pool for a very long time. Who will go first? The princess naturally goes last. Let's play rock paper scissors. Taking someone else's things is really enjoyable. Being a little bit mischievous, or let's say, like the mermaids from a certain world who have a preference for a sense of wrongdoing, the mermaid girls began to decide the order of their appearance in an ancient way. In the end, the first winner was born. She was a beautiful mermaid with shiny blue scales and hair as silky as silk. She was the oldest in the aquarium, 17 years old this year, and had 2 younger sisters. The 3 sisters came together to participate in the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order this time. She swayed her own fishtail and leisurely swam towards the dragon egg wrapped in a white light cluster. In the next second, beyond the reach of humans, the enchanting song of a fantasy creature began to echo in this huge pool. It was a forbidden love song, the sea nymph's voice that tempts people to fall into the sea. Chapter 1076 During the Divine Era War, the humans, who once expelled the arrogant dragons from the continent and obtained the Earth Crown, had a very arrogant plan. They were not satisfied with just being the kings of the land. They wanted to go further, overthrow the dragon race from their high pyramid and take over the crown of the ocean. In order to accomplish this, humans formed the largest fleet ever, hoping to use the same strategy used to fight for the continental crown, and advance into the ocean. However, ideals are beautiful, but the ending is tragic. Even though humans were skilled in land battles and had established an enormous fleet they called invincible, when faced with the powerful creatures of the ocean, the only thing that became evident was that humans, by nature, are not suited for living in the ocean. The invincible knights on land lost almost half of their fighting power from seasickness alone. The most cunning strategists among humans were unable to find a way for their armies to use their advantage on land in the vast and unforgiving sea, with no escape, no way up or down. The result of that great sea battle remained a secret in human history for a long time. It was not until a very long time ago that people discovered, during the end of the Divine Era War, humans had suffered such a devastating defeat. The invincible fleet had only a few knights left, floating back to the mainland with wooden planks. The human camp had gathered a huge fleet of powerful people, but not even one ship survived. Half of the enormous ships were destroyed in the storm called Great Whirlpool, caused by the collaboration of the sea creatures. Many knight heroes of the Divine Era drowned in the sea, without even a chance to fight back. The remaining half was completely defeated by the united forces of the Mermaid Clan and other ocean armies. The entire army was wiped out. In the dark ocean night, the mermaid songs lured countless sailors into the sea, never to return. Thinking that swimming would save them was a big mistake. No matter how skilled you are in the water, you can't compare to the true sea creatures. Moreover, the battle took place in the middle of the ocean, far from any land. The human army lost the chance to counterattack without the invincible fleet. Most soldiers drowned, and even the best swimmers couldn't save them. After that, the plan for humans to attack the ocean was postponed indefinitely. By the end of the Divine Era, nobody mentioned it again. The ocean's dominion was granted to the Leviathan Alliance, led by the mighty dragons. Humans couldn't breathe underwater, so they had no choice. From then on, the continent belonged to humans, and the ocean belonged to the dragons. They recognized each other's territories, and peace was established in the post-Divine Era. As the greatest heroes of the destruction of the invincible fleet, the Mermaid Clan became favored by the dragons and became the brightest jewels on the ocean crown. In the war that humans consider a dark history, it was not magic but the mermaid songs that caused humans to be defeated. The mermaids summoned enormous sea monsters with their songs, creating a storm and whirlpool that effortlessly destroyed a group of human knights, even feared by the dragons of hero rank, causing half of the invincible fleet to sink to the bottom of the sea. The three creator gods' weapons that were once possessed by humans became the spoils of war for the Mermaid Clan. The remaining half of the invincible fleet was mostly destroyed by the immense sea creature population. Several knight orders that dared to challenge the Leviathan faction's elite forces on land had no chance to even charge forward, and one by one, they died helplessly in the water. Many sailors, enticed by the mermaid songs at night, willingly jumped into the sea, completely severing the vast invincible fleet. This was a more terrifying achievement than the elite troll forces of the Leviathan faction. It can be said that with their own power, the mermaids completely shattered humans' delusions of conquering the ocean. From then until modern times, nobody ever mentioned rebuilding a navy to conquer the sea again, not even the ambitious Leviathan Empire had any related plans. The sea creatures have a huge advantage in the ocean. The songs of mermaids also have another name, sea nymph's voice. Legend has it that even the bravest knights cannot resist it. Sailors stuff their ears with cotton, and some even pierce their own eardrums, but they can still hear the enchanting songs. Now, Ein finally has the chance to listen to the songs of mermaids after the Divine Era, not as an enemy. The legend is not exaggerated at all, and it may not even be enough to describe the bewitching songs of mermaids. Starting from the first Blue Mermaid, every mermaid easily lasted 10 minutes while singing during the Holy Silver Dragon Night Order assessment. Their incredibly beautiful songs, combined with the immense energy flowing from the silver dragon eggs, seemed to create a resonance that filled the entire underground palace group with a captivating melody of love. This melody reached its peak after the appearance of Princess Heidi from the Mermaid clan. The song she sang was very, very captivating, but also very, very sorrowful. The song tells a story of an impossible and morally wrong love affair. I really, really want to see you, but I can't catch a glimpse of you. My heart can't calm down, even more than the swaying flowers in the storm. Because we can't meet, this love becomes even stronger. Even if I have to give my all for this love, it is a decision I won't regret. Although our meeting was ordinary, you captivate me more than anyone else. I can't put into words how I feel now, maybe this is what people call destiny. Let me turn the wheel of fate for you and sing for you alone. Just close my eyes, and it feels like you're right beside me, holding my hand, telling me you love me. I really wanted to see you, but I couldn't. Tonight, I can't control the strong emotions in my heart, so I want to see you. But I can't. Whenever I miss someone, a bitter feeling arises in my heart. My past thoughts keep crumbling one after another. In fact, contrary to my attitude, I have long been captivated by you. That invisible force keeps pulling my heart towards you. We gaze into each other's eyes and lean closer together. The heartbeat of that evening is unforgettable. In your eyes, there is only me. Your lips are near my ear. Why am I not your princess? Why is it that even though I met you first, you are hugging her? Tell me, my darling, whom do you love? It's a timeless and enchanting story in the underwater world of mermaids. The mermaid princess who fell in love at first sight with the prince, drank a magic potion to gain the power to turn into a human, hoping to win the love of the prince. Chapter 1077. That singing voice has a magical power that makes people unable to resist, even though they know they will die. Similarly, the singing voice that leads people to hell can also take them to heaven. When this kind of singing voice is not used for harm and death, but instead used for praise, admiration, and expressing one's inner emotions, its power surpasses the limitations of race and civilization. When Ein heard the singing voice of the mermaid princess Heidi, he was convinced that no matter how hard he tried, he could never surpass this girl in singing. It was a natural gift that mermaids possessed, a miracle in Sia's world. Heidi, the princess who possesses this singing voice, and the time entangled with the silver dragon egg, surpassed everyone, including Princess Ein herself. Having the same divine era bloodline, coming from the same noble lineage, and understanding what the white light cluster contains, Heidi put immense pressure on Ein like never before. Even the white halo that enveloped the silver dragon egg gave the strongest reaction so far. Like constantly swirling mist, the immense dragon's spiritual energy spread out in ripples, causing the young girls who had just completed the first round of the Holy Silver Dragon Night Order selection to blush. Many people were directly stimulated by this sudden attack and couldn't help but make uncontrollable whimpering sounds, completely losing consciousness. Those who were able to maintain consciousness in this sudden attack were all elites who lasted more than 2 minutes in the first round of the Holy Silver Dragon Night Order selection. They naturally gained the most benefits from this baptism. However, the one who benefited the most was Princess Heidi herself, who triggered this second impact. She stretched out her fish tail contentedly, continuing to sing a sad and bewitching ballad, immersing herself in the self-satisfaction of lost love. 16 minutes, 17 minutes, 18 minutes. With the mesmerizing power of the mermaid's song, she lasted 5 minutes longer than Princess Ein herself, finally letting out a trembling final note. Aw, 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 aw. Love, oh yeah yeah. The collapse of the nursery rhyme represented the Princess Heidi's loss of control over her emotions and posture. Her performance lasted for a full 20 minutes, exceeding the limits set by Ein for the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. The mermaid song is actually so powerful. Queen Ein, also known as the nuclear explosion, only now realizes that even in an era of weakened magic tide, true monsters can still emerge. Or rather, due to the weakening of the magic tide, the difference between these monsters and ordinary people has not decreased, but has become even more obvious. Her sister, Adley, is such a monster. The mermaid princess, Heidi, is also such a monster. Ha ha ha. It's amazing. Princess Heidi, who was unable to finish singing the epic poem, felt the immense spiritual energy in the water, almost visible to the naked eye. Her facial expression resembled being in heaven. No, for mermaids, this is heaven, the best world. The water environment contains a lot of pure magical power. The ecosystem here is simpler than the deepest part of the ocean. And most importantly, dragons. Mermaids like to be with dragons. It is the nature of all Leviathan faction members, except trolls, to submit to the kings who are born as Leviathan's children. Unlike the hypocritical social structure of humans, the concept of betrayal is almost non-existent in the Leviathan faction. Throughout the history of the Leviathan clan's rule over the world, there was only one decisive war, the war between the giants and the dragon clan, which determined the dominance of the world. On the other hand, human history is an encyclopedia of wars. The number of humans killed in wars among themselves far exceeds those killed by other races. The followers of Leviathan cannot understand why humans would be so crazy as to kill each other, resulting in rivers of blood, not even for something as important as air or water sources that are vital for survival. If our daughter is bullied, we will start a war. You insulted my knight's honor, let's start a war. The grape wine produced in your family's vineyard bordering mine is especially delicious, let's start a war. As long as they want to start a war, humans will come up with as many reasons as they can, even disregarding the possibility of having blood ties with the enemy. However, Heidi now believes that there is a reason worth fighting for if it's for this tower. The followers of Leviathan, except for trolls, have an unwavering belief in the dragon clan. If Ein has any disadvantage against the dragons, both the Lamia clan and the Mermaid clan have enough reasons to start another war against humans. The peace treaty signed between the Leviathan clan and humans during the Divine Era War automatically became null and void after the Dragon clan, who acted as the leader, disappeared from this world. Now, with the Mermaid clan and the Lamia clan serving as interim leaders, they have the authority to declare war on humans and can even take the Troll clan along. Do not underestimate the war potential of the Leviathan clan just because their numbers have reached a dangerous level. In that magical era war, the Leviathan's family only gave up the crown of the land, but the crown of the ocean always belonged to the Leviathan faction. Nobody knows how many terrifying monsters are hidden in the ocean, and nobody knows how many people would die if the Leviathan faction went to war with humans again. Just as Heidi and Miraz exchanged glances, estimating the chances of stealing the dragon egg from this tower if they went to war with humans, the savior appeared. I want to join too, sis. Adley raised his small hand, indicating that he hadn't participated in the selection for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order yet. You don't need to participate in the selection. Ein looked speechlessly at his sister who volunteered. After all, she was already designated as the captain of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Everyone is working so hard. Adley, you must do your best too. Recently, Adley had been enthusiastically studying 3 books from the magical era, and he knew almost everything about the correct method for hatching dragon eggs. Heidi's appearance also made the little princess feel a certain sense of crisis. It was the first time she had seen her sister look so nervous. It's okay, she didn't understand difficult things, but when it came to hatching eggs, Adley was the most skillful. So, Adley took off her princess dress and revealed her beautifully carved body, hopping and skipping towards the silver dragon egg covered in a white halo. "Lord Silver Dragon, please help Adley." She couldn't sing like a sea mermaid, but Adley's lovely voice was unbeatable. The fairy butterflies flew around and sprinkled a lot of fairy dust around Adley. The third attack began to erupt. Oh. Chapter 1078, That Child. Isn't that Princess Adley? She is also participating in the selection for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. She looks too young. When Adley ran towards the dragon egg, many people didn't believe in her. She was almost as short as a young dwarf girl and had never been out of the palace. There were rumors that the heaviest thing she had ever held in her life was a teddy bear. Compared to her previous study abroad in the Empire, Princess Adley, who was known as the twin star with Empire's Roland, is seen as a delicate flower in people's hearts, growing up protected and cared for. The youngest royal bloodline of the Sia Kingdom, like a caged canary, this is how the kingdom and the upper society of the Empire perceive Adley. Even standing next to Queen Ayn, it's easy for people to overlook her existence. As a young girl, she is considered insignificant by everyone. But now, Adley is different. Even the deceased former king and queen probably didn't know that Adley has the strongest affinity for dragon eggs in the world. The reason is unknown. When she reaches out her little hand and bravely approaches the dragon egg enveloped in magic, then begins the exchange of vital energy, the resulting phenomenon astounds even the members of the Leviathan faction, Heidi and Immerse. It's a scenery akin to a miracle, perhaps due to being stimulated by the vital energy of over 3,000 girls. When Adley and the dragon egg resonate, an unprecedented spectacle occurs. The emanating waves of the sacred silver dragon's vital energy ripple and spread layer by layer, instantly engulfing the entire underground palace group. Everyone was surrounded by this shock and felt an unimaginably huge presence. Faster than a storm. More dazzling than lightning. Like flames, like sunlight, so powerful yet brings a sense of calm. This is the third impact, more powerful and shocking than the second impact caused by Heidi. The white dragon roar wave is the unique color of the sacred silver dragon, Mumu Narabel, representing a pure and flawless sacred shockwave. The girls who could still stand after the first round of selection, and survive the impact caused by the mermaid princess in the second round, fell one after another in front of this strongest third impact, like wheat under a sickle. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. 30 minutes. In the end, only fewer than 30 people survived this third attack, looking at that small figure with eyes full of shock. She, surprisingly, held on until the 36th minute, before finally collapsing softly onto the dragon egg. Sister. Adley worked very hard, right? Adley had always lived a carefree life, but that doesn't mean she didn't understand anything. Even though she was only 9 years old, she could see the sadness in her sister's eyes, which is why she made a wish on that night of the meteor shower. World peace, no more wars, so that her sister could be happy. Everyone told her that Mom and Dad went to the sky world, but she understood that they would never come back. In this world, only she and her sister depended on each other, so she wanted to help her sister more than anyone else. Now, she finally accomplished it. Thunk. 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 She could hear a very loud and vibrant sound coming from the dragon egg, full of life. This time, unlike any other time before, Adley felt the sensation of being watched. It seemed like inside the dragon egg, there were a pair of eyes observing her. This was not her imagination. Inside the silver dragon egg, Yunshi opened his eyes and looked at this beautiful world for the first time. What's going on? When Yunshi opened his eyes, he saw a world that was incredibly wonderful, vibrant, and made him feel hot all over. The seed of the battle god inside his body greedily absorbed the essence exchanged from over 3,000 members of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, and then released full energy. It was like a pond of spring water with countless ripples. A group of cute girls, most of them humans but also a few from different races, were lying in all different directions, all with flushed faces. The survivors, about 30 or so, all looked embarrassed, stumbling and trembling with their peaks on their chests quivering. Only one person was still dressed and maintaining her dignity. Yunshi had a vague impression of her name. It should be Ain. During the time he was asleep, Yunshi was not completely cut off from the outside world and often heard the names of two young girls. Ain made a promise with the great silver dragon that she would fulfill her duty as the princess to hatch the dragon egg. Adley had a wonderful affinity with the dragon egg and always stayed close to it as the princess. The problem is, he doesn't seem to have slept for very long. How did he wake up to find himself surrounded by 3,000 beautiful girls, all of whom seemed to have done something with him? What happened during the time he fused his flesh with Mumu, who had transformed into the star-hunting dragon Mumu Narabel? How did these over 3,000 girls who have ambiguous relationships with him come about? Why does he have no impression of anyone except Ain and Adley? No, maybe he does have some impressions. Before Adley woke him up, he vaguely felt that a large number of active factors were appearing in his self-contained environment. That was the breath of life from different sources, but it was all absorbed by the dragon egg. In response, the dragon egg also released an equal breath as a reward. This process happened naturally, just like how humans instinctively breathe. The silver dragon egg in the hatching stage also had the instinct to absorb spiritual energy and nurture life. During Yunshi's stage of unconsciousness, this process was not under his control and proceeded smoothly. Ain's approach was correct, or rather, the book, The Correct Method for Hatching Dragon Eggs, was indeed effective. However, the amount of spiritual energy needed to hatch the star-hunting dragon egg was 10 times more exaggerated than Ain estimated. Thankfully, she made the correct declaration and formed the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. The Girl Knight Order, consisting of over 3,000 members, finally provided the awakening power to the Silver Dragon Egg, Su. Even though the combined strength of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order with 3,000 members was immense, it was still far from the amount needed for the hatching of this particular dragon egg. However, this was not a dragon egg laid by a true giant dragon. It was enveloped in some kind of a shell that contained Yunshi. Therefore, Yunshi woke Su up. Then, he saw this incredibly beautiful and exciting world. Chapter 1079 Ain. The first person Yunshi met was Nuclear Blast Queen, who was a member of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order and was wearing a platinum magic dress. She was the first human being in this world to come into contact with him, and she brought him back here as a dragon egg. Adley. Next, there was a little princess with the highest affinity to his dragon form, constantly whispering to him, a young girl. Lord Silver Dragon, wake up early and play with Adley. I hope for peace in the world. The little princess is truly adorable, both sisters have outstanding virtues and are still cute. At the ages of 14 and 9, they are both little ladies. The question is, what happened to these more than 3,000 underage girls? Last time he vaguely sensed the world, he didn't see anything so outrageous. All the girls gathered around him, and most of them lost consciousness. Without exception, everyone had the scent of dragon roar wave on them. Even Yunshi, who had married a million brides, had never done anything so absurd. Even when Water God's worldwide emperor did this and that, he had at most, cough, let's not digress. Yunshi urgently wanted to know what relationship he had with these more than 3,000 underage girls who bore his aura. Meyer, please report the current situation. After waking up from slumber, Su, the first thing Yunshi asked about was his star spirit. She had the ability to record all trial data, so she must know what was going on. I've been waiting for a long time, Master. Now, I have both good news and bad news to report to you. Maya's voice once again became lively, suggesting that her mood was not bad. Let's start with the bad news, Yunshi thought, feeling like he had become really unlucky after having 4 creator-level ex-girlfriends. But no matter how bad things were, they couldn't get any worse. So, be prepared, my master. You have been sealed by Asha's power, Meyer solemnly informed Yunshi about his current condition. Sealed. Does that mean I have turned into an egg? Yunshi looked at the silver-white flesh beside him, feeling really frustrated. Of course, it wasn't his own flesh, but rather Mumu's, the star-hunting dragon and Asha's apostle's flesh. Yes, because you chose to suppress the curses and blessings of the other 3 by using the power of the supreme dragon god Asha, star-hunting dragon's flesh has turned into a seal, trapping you inside this dragon egg. The girls outside are Princess Ain, now she's the queen of this world. They were the ones who assisted in finding someone to help hatch the dragon egg for you. They want to use the method of hatching dragon eggs in this world to bring you out of the egg. For that purpose, they formed a group called the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Of course, that is impossible because this dragon egg is actually a seal, created to contain the Star Child, which is you, my master. Even if there were 10 times more people, they still wouldn't be able to hatch you, because you're not a dragon, master. So, these girls she gathered are the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Yunshi accepted this scenario and started thinking about how to escape from this egg. Well, the good news is coming next. Meyer, the representative of the Star Will, naturally wouldn't just watch her master being sealed inside the egg. Her birth was meant to help her master escape from the fate of being hunted down by those 4 terrifying ex-girlfriends. Here, in the world of real trials, you can use the power of the stars to go through the trials normally, master. Of course, there's a cost to bypass Asha's seal, you need to deceive the seal. Meyer's words ignited hope in Yunshi. What cost do I have to pay? Maybe, you separated a part of your soul not long ago, and now you need to choose to separate a part of your flesh, about 1/5 of your body, dear master. Deceiving others without them knowing, that's Starchild's favorite trick. Most of the time, Starchild uses splitting souls to create deceptive illusions. Now, temporarily disconnected and staying with the Starwings Knights, Mei is the representative. Now, a seal made from the flesh and blood of the star-hunting dragon Mumu Narabel needs to be deceived. Do I have to give up 1/5 of my body? Yunshi sighed. Does he have to give up a hand or a foot? No need to worry, Meyer's technique is excellent. It might hurt a bit when splitting, but it will pass quickly. I always feel like this sentence exposes some kind of incredible secret. However, Yunshi has no other choice. Asha's seal is extremely powerful, and he cannot break it with his own strength. So, we can only deceive this seal and make it think it's still sealed. 1/5 of the body has to stay inside, it's unfortunate but unavoidable. Let's begin, Meyer. I am going to undergo a trial. By sacrificing a part of his own soul, Yunshi escaped from being chased by his 4 ex-girlfriends. He didn't want to stay trapped in the egg for who knows how many years. There is only one thing he must do, complete this real trial and become stronger. This isolated world, found specially by the will of the stars, is a place where he can avoid the will of his 4 ex-girlfriends. For his own future, he must become stronger. All right, master. Separate. Prepare. On the silver shell of the dragon egg wrapped in a halo of white light, there appeared spots of starlight. It was not the power of the dragons, but rather the blessings from the stars. This process will probably last for about 7 days, and you, the owner, will have to endure it. Another dragon roar wave was released, but this time, the dragon roar wave was full of nourishing chi, soothing the girls who had sacrificed their own vitality to awaken Yunxi. The selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order has now come to an end. I heard the voice of Lord Silver Dragon. Ein pressed his chest, looking at the silver dragon egg steadily emitting a halo of white light, his face filled with happiness. Hatching has begun. Heidi and Maras glanced at each other, nodding. The changes in the world began to spread bit by bit from this bathhouse. Now, not many people know what the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order represents for this world. People only know that on this day, the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order gave birth to about 1,000 formal members and over 1,000 reserve members. Chapter 1080 Great, I finally passed the selection. Today is definitely my lucky day. I completed it in 11 seconds. I almost thought I couldn't make it. I took 18 seconds, and it felt incredibly amazing. I thought I had entered heaven. Oh wow, heaven. The girls who passed the first round of trials for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order were all smiling with happiness in their eyes. Without exception, everyone considered the time they persisted in this assessment as a proof of their talents. Well, the fact is, Ein conducted this experiment for the purpose of hatching dragon eggs. The group called Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order is actually a group of girls hatching dragon eggs. The girls who didn't pass the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order for the first time felt a bit sad, but they didn't lose all hope. Because Ein told them that they were put on the reserve list of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, and they still had a chance to participate in the selection process every day. As long as they still meet the 3 criteria of under 18 years old, pure of heart, and beautiful and cute, they still have a chance to join the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. From the beginning, Ein had no intention of letting go of these girls who met the criteria. The establishment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order was a huge lie in the first place. It was not easy to select these underage girls who met the requirements for hatching using the intimidating power of her nuclear blast queen. How could she just let them go because they failed the assessment once? It would be such a waste. Adley's performance proved that affinity with dragon eggs could be improved through training. She didn't expect these girls who failed their first trial to surpass the elite level, but as long as they met the minimum requirement of 10 seconds, it would be enough. Actually, from her perspective, the main reason these girls failed the first time was not only because of lack of talent but also because of psychological factors. They were too nervous and cared too much about the outcome of the trial. When they were suddenly hit by the dragon egg's energy, they were completely unprepared and their minds went blank. So, as long as they still meet the 3 conditions for hatching dragon eggs, Ein will let them keep trying. And so, the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order officially begins its operation. All the members who were selected to participate in the assessment for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order have moved into the Grand Palace, according to their own camps and habits. Ein, as the Queen, established the schedule for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. In the morning, the members who passed the first assessment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order began the egg hatching ceremony, which these girls considered as their trial. During this process, even from a distance of several palaces, the aspiring girls could hear the melodious sounds coming from the large bath. After the trial of the official members is completed, it's the turn for the reserve girls to step forward and face the unique assessment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order once again. As for the official members who have completed the egg hatching task, they start their own training and absorb the dragon's spiritual energy obtained during their morning and afternoon practices. Ein can clearly feel that as the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order team grows stronger, the messages conveyed from the eggs of the sacred silver dragons become more and more clear. At first, there were some blurry whispers with unclear meanings. Hurry! It's coming! Trial! Time! Separate! Countdown! Then, a specific moment arrived. Only 6 days left. 5 days. Each day, a new world could be discovered. Every day, you can hear new sounds. This sound seems to be heard only by her and Adley, and they are both waiting for that moment to come. During this process, the growth of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order is incredibly amazing. On the second day of the unique trial of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, the strongest member of the Troll clan, Saramanda, successfully broke through the barrier between mortal and hero ranked, displaying great strength. When she broke through, the palace shook, and the earth rejoiced. Bathing in the pool filled with dragon spiritual energy, patterns of an earth child appeared on her skin. Her feet almost sank into the ground as the immense power of the earth surged into her body, even strengthening her giant axe. Saramanda. Feeling the power of her bloodline breaking free from the constraints of the period of magic tide decline, Troll Saramanda shouted her true name, holding a dragon egg in one hand and raising her giant axe in the other. She had every right to feel proud and happy. In ancient times, there were no barriers for the Troll clan to advance to hero ranked. At that time, any adult troll could naturally become a terrifying monster on the battlefield, as they grew older and reached hero ranked. As Earth children, they should have such natural abilities. However, as the magic tide weakened, the overall concentration of magic in the world started to drastically decrease. Even the beloved trolls found it incredibly difficult to break through to hero ranked. Saramanda, the most outstanding genius in the troll clan of that era, never thought she could break through to hero ranked before reaching adulthood. Due to the different limits of their respective races, a hero-ranked troll's strength far surpassed that of a hero-ranked human warrior. Handling 3 opponents was not a problem. Furthermore, Saramanda now possessed an exclusive weapon that made all trolls envious, a giant axe she named Crimson Dragon. All of this stemmed from the dragon egg she held in one hand. The immense energy radiating from the egg completely filled the world's lack of magic concentration, unlocking Saramanda's potential. For this world, the dragon egg formed from the flesh of the star-hunting dragon Mumu Narabel was a miraculous artifact capable of creating wonders. Of course, Saramanda never thought about such complex matters. She only knew that she had started to like this place, and she had started to like the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Compared to the territory of the Troll clan, there are so many delicious things here, the air is also comfortable, and there are many friends to be with, it's really great. Long live Saramanda, big sister. Indeed, Saramanda is the best. Among the human heroes, Saramanda can defeat 10 of them in one go. Watching Saramanda, who held up a crimson dual-blade heavy axe with one hand, the underage troll girls applauded together and shouted from the bottom of their hearts. As for the underage girls of other races, their eyes became even more intense as they looked at the dragon egg wrapped in a white halo. This is truly a sacred artifact of the divine era, oh. Chapter 1081. The entire Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, who participated in the selection, was forced to stay in the underground palace of the Divine Era Tower, but they were not prohibited from exchanging letters. Soon, explosive news such as Saramanda breaking through to hero ranked and the existence of a mysterious divine artifact leaked from the letters written by members of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order to the outside world. I didn't stop this from happening. From the moment she made the decision to open the High Tower of the Divine Era and place the selection site of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order in the baths of the Underground Palace Group, the secret of the Divine Era Tower was inevitably exposed. This is a time of change, the footsteps of destiny. In order to fulfill her promise with Lord Silver Dragon, she made the decision to give up everything, even her own position as queen. Anyway, the title of Nuclear Blast Queen was completely unexpected, all because of Lord Silver Dragon. Unexpectedly, after the truth about the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order spread, people's admiration for Ein not only didn't diminish but instead continued to grow. To willingly open the secret of the Divine Era Tower and not prohibit members of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order from spreading the secret, it shows great confidence and a broad mind. This is the kind of aura that only the #1 nuclear blast queen of the continent possesses. It is her confidence in possessing the ultimate forbidden spell that allows her to open the high tower of the Divine Era. In an instant, all the plans regarding the upcoming war in the Leviathan Empire were completely invalidated. Not only that, but there was also a complete reversal in the strategic direction. They were determined to explore the secrets of the Divine Era Tower at any cost. The fairy butterfly that only exists in the world of the Divine Era. Hundreds and thousands of rare plants that have long disappeared from modern times. The most sought-after strategic resource for the Empire, perfectly crafted gems. Especially the divine artifact located inside the underground palace group's large bath, it actually possesses the magic of the Divine Era, allowing people to awaken their own Divine Era bloodline power. If it weren't for the fact that only members of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order are allowed to enter this Divine Era Tower, countless knights who want to awaken their bloodline power would have crowded the tower's gates. Only Nuclear Blast Queen I could suppress the madness of these people. For a moment, the strength of Sia Kingdom shocked the entire continent. At that time, they still didn't realize what was happening inside the ancient Divine Era Tower. The members of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order who bathed in the Dragon Roar wave day and night, whether official or reserve members, were undergoing amazing changes in their bodies. They were the only beings in this world who received the sacred Dragon Roar wave baptism from the star-hunting dragon Mumu Narabel. Whether human or from different races, they were all in this unique environment that didn't even exist in the Divine Era. Every day, every minute, every second, they were experiencing the incredible power beyond the level of this world. Even if Yunshi never had that thought, they were still undergoing a transformation towards a completely new race. That was evolution, a leap in the life cycle of the intelligent beings of this world since the end of the Divine Era. The most obvious change is that everyone's connection to dragon eggs is getting stronger and stronger. On the second day after the first round of selection by the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order, more than 100 reserve members who didn't pass the first round reached the 10-second standard. They whispered to each other, their faces showing the expression of discovering a new continent. The other girls who didn't pass the selection for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order in this round also blushed and shyly looked at their comrades. Even the girls who knew the least about romantic matters vaguely understood that the most important factor in passing the assessment for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order in this round. This is thanks to Princess Adley, who is loved by everyone. Skipping and jumping, she took the initiative to go to the girls who thought their talents were bad, so they couldn't pass the assessment for the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Next is Princess Adley's preaching time. As for the teaching materials, naturally it is the Divine Era art that Adley likes very much. The Shameless and Lustful Demon King and the Story That Must Be Told by 1,000 Princesses. The Shameless and Lustful Demon King and the Story That Must Be Told by 1,000 Younger Sisters. The Shameless and Lustful Demon King and the Story That Must Be Told by 1,000 Daughters. With these three beautifully illustrated and highly artistic textbooks, the innocent girls who couldn't pass the selection of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order for the first time finally learned the meaning behind the song sung by Lamia and mermaids. As a result, they now had a reason for why they couldn't pass the first assessment of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. Because they still didn't understand anything. It turns out, this is how it should be done in such situations, like this and like that. Wow, it can also be done like this. No matter what, that's too much. Watching the detailed and touching plots in these three Divine Era books, the underage girls blushed and their hearts raced one by one, but they couldn't help wanting to continue reading. Very quickly, in just one day, these good and studious girls showed their unique feminine kindness and patience. Already on the verge of passing, they took a breath of about 8 or 9 seconds and easily reached the 10-second benchmark. Despite their poor grades and confusion about where to focus their efforts, the girls saw a visible improvement in their performance. Each second of improvement brought hope to these once extremely discouraged girls, who thought they had missed out on a glorious future in the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order. On the third day of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order selection, over 200 people surpassed the 10-second line that symbolizes hope and future. On the fourth day, the number of qualified individuals skyrocketed like never before. A total of 500 people successfully completed the crucial trial that meant everything to their lives. On the fifth and sixth day, Ayn was astonished to find that all the underage girls she had chosen met the minimum requirement for hatching dragon eggs. Not only that, but the officially accepted members of the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order also had varying degrees of improvement in their grades. Her planned 24-hour non-stop egg hatching program had transformed from a mere idea on paper into an actionable plan. On the sixth day, when everybody in the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order passed the test, the girls' cheers and sweet singing echoed throughout the entire underground palace group. For the first time in this world, the Holy Silver Dragon Knight Order was officially formed. Every member carried the obligation of hatching dragon eggs. Even the girls who barely met the minimum requirements were wholeheartedly fulfilling their sacred mission. In the enormous bath, the girls' snowy bodies were seen at every moment. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.